Hello, hello. Oops, hold on a second. Hello, my friends. This is Dr. David Snyder, and welcome to How to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind, Subconscious Secrets for Attracting Success, Health, Wealth, and Happiness into Your Life. For the next 2 to 3 hours, I'm going to be going deep dive with you into some of the most powerful and most little understood methodologies for understanding how your mind actually works, how to reprogram your subconscious mind, and how to take those skills and apply them directly to your life. Now, I have to warn you up front that before I jump into the content today, I'd like to go ahead and go through some administrative details I think everybody needs to know. First and foremost, I'm a no BS kind of guy. So if politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offend you, this is not the best channel for you to spend your time on. If you're somebody who's looking for real world proven techniques, methodologies, principles that you can apply directly to your life that will yield a result each and every time you do them, that allow you to have more control over your life, then you're in the right place, okay? My intention as a teacher is never to offend you, but it is to provoke you. And so many times, and we'll talk about this whole provocative, emotional, responsive phenomena as we get deeper into the webinar, okay? But we do have some, before we jump into the content for today's webinar, we do have some administrative things that I would like to get out of the way. Now, first and foremost, my kids just came home from school, so you may hear yelling and screaming in the background. It's because I still work from home, in spite of the fact that we're now doing even bigger live events all throughout the United States. And I'm hoping to see some of you there very, very soon. So first and foremost, we got the disclaimer out of the way. Second, cool, congrats. Thank you, Ed. Derailed me for a second. A, if this is your first time with us, first and foremost, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to type in your name, where you're checking in from, and first time in the chat. This is an interactive class. Now, it's technically a webinar, but it's a class. This is, again, we're gonna give you an offer just like every other webinar you've ever been on. We're gonna take you through a bunch of different information. Some of it is foundational. Other parts of it are going to build on those foundations later in the webinar. So let me go ahead and give you some what you can expect on this webinar. First and foremost, we do not do traditional webinars. So if you came in to the webinar, especially if this is your first time, expecting 90 minutes of promise, 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 tease, 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 buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, you're probably going to be disappointed. Okay. We do what I call a free form webinar. And what that means is I have a set curriculum that I want to teach you. But at some point during the process of the webinar, I actually ask you what it is you want to learn most about, and I tailor the content of that webinar so that the vast majority of you can walk away from this webinar with that 1 or 2 pieces of solid gold information that you can apply right away that can change your life. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to start what I lovingly call my Dr. David Dog and Pony Show in just a few minutes, where I'll go through my intro, my bio, things of that nature. And then I'll jump into the content of tonight's webinar. And tonight's webinar is going to focus on principles, techniques, and methodologies specifically for how to reprogram your subconscious mind, how to remove blocks to your success, how to get rid of negative emotions and limiting beliefs, how to program your mind for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness, and all the things connected to that. So if you have issues with procrastination, issues with fear, money blocks, love blocks, maybe you keep dating the same person with a different face every time, you're going to find some very powerful, very relevant tools that you can begin to apply to your life directly. And that is our goal. Our goal is never to just fluff you. Our goal is to give you real world proven actionable information that you can take out into the world today or tomorrow, depending on what your time frame is, and start using. So here's how we're going to proceed. For about the first 60 to 90 minutes, I'm going to deliver as much foundational content as I can. Okay, so if you don't have something to write with, you really, really, really should have something, because A, there's drills that involve writing that I need you to experience. Okay, there's only a couple of things that you need to be successful with this. You don't have to believe any of it. That's probably one of the best things about the technologies that we teach, is that you don't have to believe it. You just got to do it. And if you do it with a fun, playful, explorational attitude, you're going to get a result, because the only variable after that is repetition. Okay, so our systems integrate a lot of different divisions of the subconscious mind, many of which some people don't even think about. And again, I don't want to confuse you with those details because you don't really need to know a lot of them. All you need to do is know the mechanical processes to follow, and you will get a result. The only question is degree and duration. So that being said, about 60-ish minutes, I'm going to present as much information as I can. That is going to lay the foundation. About at the 60 to 75-minute mark in our class today, I'm gonna take a break and we're gonna present a package that we've put together for you that builds on these things that are actually the things we're gonna be teaching are taken from this package. And we're gonna show you how to take your life to the next level. It's gonna take about 20 to 30 minutes to explain that. Then when that part is done, we're gonna circle back and we're going to continue to teach. We're going to continue to build on the foundations that we laid in part 1 of this webinar, of this class. And we're going to take you even further, and we're going to further customize this content so that you come away with the exact tools that you need to change the things you want to change and move your life forward in a way that is the way you want it to be. If that sounds like, in other words, if this is the scope of everything that there is to learn about how to reprogram your subconscious mind in the time that we have, I have time for this. But my commitment in the time that we have is I will take you as deep and as far as I can, and I will point you in the direction of where to go to take it to the next level if that's what you want to do. Does that sound like a fair trade? If it sounds like a fair trade, then go ahead and type "that's fair." Let's do that in the chat, and we'll go ahead and start the official webinar. Okay, awesome, very cool. And once again, one more thing regarding questions. I love questions, which really pisses off a lot of my YouTube fans, because I believe that if you took the time out of your life to ask a question, you deserve to have the response. Unfortunately, the more questions I answer, the more likely I am to go off topic. So for those of you who have questions, my commitment to you is I will answer every question that you give me. But the way I answer it may not be, there's going to be different ways to do that. So first and foremost, the first thing I asked was how many of you are new to Planet David? The second thing I'm going to ask is how many of you have been bebopping around Planet David for 3, 5, 6, 7 months, a year? And how many of you have actually used our materials out in the world to get a change? If you're one of those people, if you've used our material to create a powerful, positive change in your life, go ahead and type that in the chat and what it did for you. Those of you who are brand new to Planet David, pay attention to what these people say, because you expect me to have an agenda. You expect me to say my stuff is the best in the world. That's BS, okay? Talk to the people who've actually taken the free stuff, gone out into the world and made a change and come back because they realize this is where you get the real stuff, okay? Now, the reason I'm asking that also for my veterans is because there's going to be a lot of questions that I won't see or will fly by so fast that I won't have a chance to answer, or to answer those questions may take me way off the course of tonight's webinar. So for my veterans out there, the people who've been bebopping around Planet David for a while, if you see a question in the chat that you have an answer to, that you have a direct experience using our technologies to fix, please answer that person's question. Okay, just type it in the chat. People need to know that this is the real stuff, okay? Now, if for those of you who have a really burning, pressing question, if that's not good enough, here's the next thing that you can do. At the end of this webinar, there will be an automatic replay on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and in the comments section below the live feed for this video, if you type your question in the chat, after every webinar for the next 3 or 4 days, I go back over every comment in the webinar. And if there's a question posted there, I answer the question and I direct you to where to go to get that information that will move your life forward. So, if I see your question and I answer it, great. If I don't see your question, somebody else can answer it. If you're still not happy with that answer or you want more information, when this replay goes live, go to the comments section on the YouTube version of the video, because there will also be a different version that Zoom uses. Go to the YouTube version of this video, type your question in, and I will go back and I will read all of those questions and I will answer them for you. Is that fair? If that's fair, go ahead and type that in the chat. I'm going to ask you to be doing this a lot. This is important. Interactiveness is going to be a big, big piece of getting the most from this webinar. Okay? Perfect. Thank you. I thank you all for your comments, by the way. I'll tell you what makes me the most excited is when I read about how all of you have used these materials to make a change in your life. I mean, it's great that you're all saying David is wonderful, David is great, and this is good. But when I see that you've actually taken this material out into the world and created change, gotten you more moving towards the life you want on your terms, that is my golden path. That is what is the, yes, I make a good living doing this, but the true reason I do this is because I'm tired of people suffering, and I'm tired of, I want to help set people free, and I want people to see what's possible for themselves. So every time you post something that is your success story, that fulfills me at a deeper level than any dollar amount could. So that being said, let's jump into what I lovingly call the Dr. David Dog and Pony Show. I will go through this as quickly as possible so we can lay the foundations for the things that we want to do. And like I said before, we'll, for 60 minutes, 65, 75 minutes, we'll teach as much as we can. We'll present our offer. We'll circle back after that offer, and we will continue to teach. We'll continue to share techniques. We'll guide you through processes so that you can have the experience of transformation for yourself. And once you have an experience, everything changes. This is an experiential workshop. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. And that means doing the drills to getting the skills. That being said, let's jump into the David Dog and Pony Show and have some fun. Okay, so first and foremost, this is how to reprogram your subconscious mind for success, health, wealth, and happiness. Revealed in this exclusive online masterclass, you will learn the psychological tips for reprogramming your subconscious mind, removing blocks to your success, getting rid of negative emotions, and how to reprogram that mind of yours for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. I'm Dr. David Snyder, DACM. And that probably brings us to the next question that most of you ask, especially if you're new. Who the heck is Dr. David Snyder, and why should I care? Well, I'm glad you asked. First of all, I am a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I graduated with a doctorate from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. This is a copy of my diploma. I've been a practicing acupuncturist with a clinic here in Solana Beach since 2005, where my specialty is treating physiological illness that is caused by repressed emotion. So while a lot of people in the hypnosis and NLP world, which we'll talk about those credentials that I have in a few moments, spend a lot of time dealing with weight loss and smoke cessation and habit control and things of that nature, which is, again, this noble work. Those aren't the customers that I get. Those aren't the patients that I treat. Most of the patients that I treat are coming to me with deep, chronic physiological illness that are the results of adverse experiences in their life. Post-traumatic stress disorder, rape, child abuse, active shooters, these kinds of things that have built up in the body and created a very toxic internal environment that creates a corresponding physiological expression. So one of the things you'll often hear me say is there's no such thing as an emotionally healthy cancer patient. Okay. And that's because when you start to, and this is by the way, this is the science and the studies, about 8 to 9 out of every 10 chronic illnesses that wind up in a doctor's office are actually based in adverse childhood experiences, repressed emotion, or memory based. And so once you understand that all of that stuff, including your physiology, is mediated by your subconscious mind, then now you have the master keys for making a change. And while we're on the topic of the subconscious mind, in 2020, I was named the #1 NLP trainer in the world by globalgurus.org. I've been in the top 5 slots, actually been in the top 2 slots for the last 5 years. So I've authored over 15 different products on various forms of human influence, everything from therapeutic applications to attraction and dating applications, sales, marketing, and copywriting applications, energetics. The full spectrum of human influence is my field of study, and I use that everywhere I go. Influence is, by and large, the most important field of study there is, because you're physiologically doomed to extinction without the ability to influence both yourself and the world around you. And that's why you're here, to get the randomness out of your life, to get more control over your mind and body, and move your life in the direction that you want it to go. So I'm a certified trainer and master practitioner in neurolinguistics. And like I said, for the last 5 years, I've been among the top 2, including sharing that spot with one of the founders, Dr. Richard Bandler, according to globalgurus.org. Now, this is interesting. I received a letter in 2020 from globalgurus.org. And what this says is, Dear David, it is with great pleasure to announce that your training program, Killer Influence, has been chosen by global peers and ranked as the #1 best program in the world for neurolinguistic programming. You can see that here. And if you click that link, you'll see that right here is a copy of the page Let me see if I can just draw your attention to that right here. We've got the #1 spot. And again, what's funny about this particular accolade is that I never promoted Killer Influence as an NLP program. It certainly is a derivative of NLP. It utilizes NLP, but it was designed to teach people how to influence humans, including themselves, anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances, for any reason. And it stands amongst its peers for many, many years as probably one of the best programs to exert influence in the world, starting with yourself and working outward to the world at large. So, many thanks to Global Gurus for that. Although I never promoted the course as that, and I didn't know they were even doing this. So I'm a lifelong martial artist. I have a 10th degree black belt in Okinawan karate, Ryukyu Kempo to be specific. I hold a 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kung Tao, 2nd degree black belt in Kosho Kempo Ryu. I have a 1st degree black belt in Fan Kuru Jiu Jitsu. I'm a certified instructor in Combat Sistema. Cinco Mano Eskrima and Modern Arnis. I'm a basic instructor in that under Professor Remy Presas, the late Professor Remy Presas. I like to make a joke that I have more energy healing credentials than McDonald's sells hamburgers. I've been a Reiki master teacher since the early 90s, since before Reiki was cool. I've been studying Kabbalah since the early 90s as well, before Madonna even heard of Kabbalah. So I'm very much a pre-Madonna. I'm an advanced pranic healer and pranic psychotherapist. I'm an advanced DNA theta healer and DNA and theta manifestation specialist. I'm certified in the Bankston Energy Healing Program and many, many forms of Qigong. So what does all this mean, actually? Why is this even relevant to the study of why we're here? Well, I'm glad you asked. What all these things have in common is actually a really good place to start. And one of the things you're going to find is that when you want to start really understanding the secrets of the universe, when you want to start understanding how your nervous system puts things together, the first thing that you have to really become sensitized to and become aware of is this thing called your states and your patterns. Everything human beings do has a structure to it. Even if it seems random, it's not. Everything human beings do is connected to a psycho-emotional state. You combine state control with patterns and you get the master key for creating success, health, wealth, and happiness. So what does state control and pattern recognition have to do with those 3 things, those 4 things? It's very simple. Everything. Because once you understand state, once you understand structure and pattern, the universe will reveal its secrets to you. You'll be able to tap into the powers of your subconscious mind. You'll be able to utilize the law of attraction and all the other extensions of that in ways that seem magical because you don't understand the principles behind it. But once you understand the principles behind it, things become simple, easy, and predictable. If you don't understand these things, you're going to be swimming against the stream through most of your life. Okay. So again, there's no BS, there's no theory in what I'm going to be sharing with you. Every single thing that we're going to show you throughout this webinar, all you got to do is do it. You don't got to believe it. You just got to have a fun, playful, explorational attitude, follow the instructions with the right attitude, and you're going to be amazed at how rapidly things start to change. So is this webinar for you? Well, let's find out. If you can answer yes to any of these questions, then this is probably going to be a really good use of your time. How many of you, just by a show of, just type me, that's for me, that's for me, that's for me in the chat. How many of you would like to be more super attractive to members of the opposite sex, maybe the same sex, and have them find you charming and fascinating and irresistible? Type that's for me, or that's me, I want that in the chat, okay? How many of you would like to banish fear and insecurity from your life and radiate more confidence and assertiveness, and maybe even be considered in your own mind and in the minds of your peers, truly alpha, right? If that's something you'd like more of, you're in the right place. Type that's for me in the chat. If you'd like to make more money, break through those barriers that are holding you from passing through that glass ceiling. If you'd like to book more clients for your business or get that raise or promotion you know you deserve, but for some reason it just keeps slipping out of your fingers, for whatever reason, maybe you're self-sabotaging, maybe you're putting things off, maybe at the last minute you manifest something that keeps you from getting to that interview. If that seems like something you'd like to fix, go ahead and type that's for me in the chat. If you would like to learn how to protect yourself from manipulators and easily handle more difficult people more easily, type that's for me in the chat, because you're going to learn some very powerful ways that you can leverage these techniques for external influence, which is interpersonal, and internal influence, which is intrapersonal, within your own mind and body, okay? If you'd like to learn how to have people thinking and feeling and acting the way you want them to, so that they naturally want to follow your lead, you're in the right place. Okay. If you'd like people to like and admire and trust you even more, if you'd like them to become emotionally bonded to the things you want them to do so that they're eager to do it, I will show you a small tweak to one of the exercises in this webinar that if you apply it, will actually have people literally salivating to want to do business with you or spend time with you or do what you want them to do. It's called the Emotional Bonding Checklist. And there's two versions of it. One is for yourself and one is not one that the version that you do with others. We're going to teach you the version that you do within yourself first. And then we'll show you, we'll talk to you about the minor tweaks that you can use with customers, with clients, with loved ones, etc. Okay, very, very powerful. It forms one of the core technologies behind a lot of the influence things that we teach. And if you've ever had struggled with motivation or self-discipline, this is one of those things that can rapidly move those blocks out of your way and help you get enough energy to move forward and take the steps you need to take. If you would like to nail 2 out of 3 job interviews on the spot and have them salivating to hire you, pay very close attention to what I've just talked to you about, because it is not uncommon for people who learn this emotional bonding process to nail job interview after job interview. We had one person got hired for 2 jobs on the same day. If you'd like to learn how to inspire and lead and motivate your employees, your spouse to do what you want them to do and want them to do it. If you'd like to learn how to pick the right people for the job to fit in your team or your company, once again, reference back to that emotional bonding and that emotional motivation checklist that we talked about, because it will allow you to profile people very, very quickly so that you can put them in the right spot. Okay, so cool. Let's see here. What else is on my list? If you would like to surround yourself with more trustworthy and loyal friends, welcome to our world, right? And finally, if you'd like to understand the power of emotion to put people under your spell, to charismatically bond people to you and have them hanging on your every word, even if you can't even spell words like hypnosis or persuasion or mind control or any of the words that imply some form of altered state work, you're in the right place. This is a place where you can learn to build the life you want the way that you want it. So that being said, how many of you, just by a show of hands, answered yes to more than 3 things on this list? Just type yes in the chat if you did that. Cool. Then you're in the right place. So let's get started, shall we? First and foremost, here's my personal promise to you. This is what I'm gonna move heaven and earth to make sure you come away with. If you stay until the end of the webinar, I'm going to share with you the fastest, most powerful, most direct way to reprogram your mind and body for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. I'm going to teach you how to put a dead stop halt to procrastination and get yourself motivated to move forward in spite of yourself. I'm going to share with you some very powerful techniques to remove blocks to your success, how to get rid of negative emotions, resolve fear, remove pain, and even transform limiting beliefs in just a few minutes. It's actually not difficult. You just got to know the steps, okay? And if you stay until the end and follow all of my instructions, I will give you the exact steps to take to go from just interesting information to maximum transformation in minimum time. Does that sound like a fair deal? Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the 2 most important factors for success. It's not what you think, or maybe it is. We're going to teach you the rules of the mind, the ones they didn't tell you about. There's about 14 of them. We probably won't have time to do every single one. So we'll touch on the ones that are the most relevant to why we're here. I'm going to share with you a system of body-centered energy psychology that will allow you in a very, very quick, simple, straightforward set of steps to reprogram limiting beliefs, to transform blocks to your success, to dissolve procrastination or anything else you want to do. It's going to teach you how your internal systems, your conscious mind, your proprioceptive nervous system, your autonomic nervous system, and all the different divisions of your neurology actually work together and how to use it. And that's the most important piece. You don't need to know how every system in your car works and how they're built to drive the car. I'm going to teach you today the basics of how to drive your car, and your car being your mind and body. We could spend months studying all the different nuances and minutia but that's not going to get you change. You don't need all that stuff to make powerful change. That's one of the big delusions that people labor under, is that you need to know how everything works before you can make a change. The truth is you don't. There's two ways to keep people stuck, my friends. You either don't give them enough information or you give them way too much. And that's why many of my colleagues and my peers, and ultimately people who become my students, when they go to things like hypnotherapy training or NLP training, they spend a lot of time on things that aren't going to get the job done. They go into an NLP training, they come out feeling like they've got all this information, and when they go to use it, it's clunky, it's unworkable. The person you're working with just seems to put all kinds of barriers up because they spent too much time on the wrong stuff, okay? But if you can follow simple, clear instructions, if you can play pretend, if you can pretend you're like a little 5-year-old kid, you can make any change that you want. You don't have to believe me. Just follow the process, okay? So let me jump back to this and finish this up, because this is where we're going, okay? Finally, I'm going to teach you how to program your future and clear your past. What if it was actually possible to create an idea of what you want to manifest, and through a simple to use filter in your neurology, like literally plugging a coordinate into a GPS, just program that into your future so that your unconscious mind automatically steers you towards it. Would that be useful? If you think that would be useful, go ahead and type that in the chat. Okay, good. So ultimately, where's all this going? To the one word that a lot of people seem to have a problem with, but I want you to embrace. Hold on a minute, let me change my colors here. Where's my color palette? Well, anyway, for some reason, I can't seem to change the colors. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Finally, I'm going to show you how to take control. I'm going to show you how to get the life you want, the way that you want it, how to level up your life on every conceivable level by mastering yourself inside and out. And we're going to start doing that. We're going to start laying those foundations today. So if you're ready to go, type "I'm ready" in the chat. Okay. So let me talk about what you're seeing here. Okay. What you're seeing here is a 7-step process we call the identity by design silo. This is a hypnotic process. It's a trance process that is designed to target the building blocks of your identity. That's designed to target the building blocks of who you think you are and why you think you are that person, and give you the ability to change them. Okay, so many of the things I'm going to be sharing with you in this webinar this is a whole 5-day training. Many of the things that I'm going to share with you in this webinar are derived from that 5-day training. So I'm going to cherry pick little pieces of it. We're going to go deep dive into those things. And when you're ready to go to the next level, when you're ready to get the whole pie, so to speak, then I will point you in the direction of how to do that. Is that fair? Is that cool? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Perfect. All right. Now, so let's look at this really quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this whole diagram, simply because some of these things take a little bit more explanation to do, and we're not going to be able to cover to do this entire silo one-on-one from start to finish takes about 90 minutes. Okay, but there are certain pieces that we can pull out of here that are going to, and a lot of principles and foundations that this 7-stage step is built on, that you can start to apply to your life right away. Okay, so let's look at this. So the first thing that happens in the identity by design process is we induce an altered state. Altered states are easy. All you got to do is play pretend and then point to where you feel it. If you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. So the first thing we do in identity by design is we resolve generalized negativity. As you move through the world, how many of you have ever had this experience? You're moving through the world, you're feeling all happy and good, right? You walk into a room, people having an argument left and right. And even though the argument has nothing to do with you, you feel shitty. Anybody ever have that happen? Right? Okay. Or you're having a great day and somebody cuts you off in the road and you don't think anything of it, but something nags at you the entire day after that. It's like somebody just destroyed your calm or whatever, right? What you are experiencing is suggestion. Okay, suggestion is the playground for the people trying to manipulate you, consciously or unconsciously. You see, your unconscious mind is always paying attention. It never shuts down, it never shuts off. It's always attending to the environment around it, and it's taking in information. But many times, you don't consciously remember why you feel bad. You just know that all of a sudden you do. Okay? And what you're dealing with in those moments is what we call generalized negativity or subconsciously acquired negativity. As you move through the world, as you interact with people, you're going to pick up stuff. A lot of times that stuff is installed in you accidentally. Many times it's done deliberately. But again, it doesn't really matter how it got there. It got there through a route that you weren't consciously aware of. And you accumulate these experiences and these charges of negative emotion, which, by the way, those charges of negative emotion are 3 times stronger than the charges of good emotion that you receive. Okay. If you haven't read a book called The Power of Bad, you need to add that to your reading list. Remember that if you have one bad event that you encounter in your life or in the course of your day, and you have one good event, single events, different levels of charge. So the negative event has a -4 charge. The positive event has a +1 charge. So for every negative event you encounter, you have 4 times the impact to your neurology as a good event has. So one of the things that happens is your neurology is actually biased towards accumulating negativity, and it does it automatically. And so if it's automatic, that means it's unconscious. Okay. And because it's a generalized experience, we don't realize that we're getting it, except at the end of the day, we feel fucking run down. We feel beat up and put away wet, and we don't know why. Because the day didn't consciously seem all that tough, and yet we're exhausted. Why? It's because we've accumulated a charge of negativity that the body doesn't know what to do with. It doesn't know what to do with. And now a lot of times, a lot of that stuff gets processed out during sleep, but a lot of times it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is because sometimes the negativity that comes in to our system is actually similar to something that's happened to us in the past. You understand that? Have you ever found yourself, like maybe you had a bad experience early in your life, you find yourself in a situation that's maybe does nothing to do with you, but it triggers a memory of something bad that was similar in your life. Has that ever happened? True or not true? Type it in the chat if it's true for you. Okay? Welcome to the power of generalized negativity, because what happens is your system's always processing data. And so if it finds something in the external world that matches an analog in your personal world, it takes a hold of that piece of negativity and adds it to the pile. Okay? The first step of our identity by design silo is to start to give us a tool to clear out that charge of negativity that we acquire every day. Just like when you get up in the morning, you go to bed at night, right before you get in the bed, or right before you get up, or put your clothes on, you jump in the shower, don't you? Yes or yes. How many of you actually bathe? Anybody bathe here? I have an 11-year-old who sometimes thinks bathing is an option, right? Right? So think of general negativity like bathing. You do it when you get up in the morning, you do it before you go to bed at night, and your negativity is purged from your body. It doesn't have a chance to take root in your system. Generalized negativity is for that. We have 3 or 4 different processes. In fact, you'll probably experience 1 or 2 of them on the back end of this webinar as part of our installation process that we're going to do. We're not, so we always incorporate a generalized negativity clearing process into all the change work that we do. But this is one of the reasons why a lot of times things are harder to change than they should be. It's because as we move through the world, we acquire this excess charge of crap from the environment, from total strangers, from situations and circumstances and events. And because we're consciously focused on something else, we don't realize it's gone in, right? Now, I'm going to make a big distinction between conscious and unconscious. You have a conscious recall pathway, or a recall pathway. You're able to remember things consciously anytime information passes through you that is actually being paid attention to by your conscious mind. But the vast majority of these general negativity charges don't. They pass in through the five senses, but you're not consciously paying attention to it, so it just goes in unchallenged. This is a process that will allow you to strategically dissolve that away. Is that useful? If you think that's useful, type that in the chat for me. Cool, excellent. So that's stage one of the identity by design process. Stage two is what we call specialized negativity clearing. For those of you, again, each part of the identity by design process, let me go back to my screen really quick. Each part of the identity by design silo targets a different aspect of your personality and the building blocks of it. Specialized negativity targets negative experiences that have lessons and beliefs attached to them that are holding you back. That your neurology believes that if you let go of it, something worse will happen and you'll go through it again. So let me explain, give you some ideas about how this works. How many of you have ever seen something you really, really wanted, right? You worked it out, you went into your mind, you laid all the steps out, and then you got the brass ring, you started to be successful, you reached a certain point and it just collapsed and went away, right? We've all had situations like that. And if you're like most entrepreneurs, they pick themselves up by their bootstraps, they dust themselves off, they put their new shiny armor back on, they get back into the ring, and they start making progress towards the goal that they want. Now, it could be in love, it could be in business, it could be something, sports, it doesn't matter. And all of a sudden they get to a certain degree, a certain level, and something happens and they lose it again. It goes away. There's a catastrophe. Something comes out of nowhere. Somebody runs off with the funds, whatever it is, right? So you've had two opportunities. You got to a certain point, boom. And then for some reason it went away, right? And then for some mysterious reason, you know what to do. You know how to do it. You know where to do it. You know when to do it. But for some reason, you just can't seem to pull the trigger. You just can't seem to take that first step or that second step that moves you towards that next attempt at your business or your goal. Or how many of you have ever had that experience? How many of you have ever dated the same person with a different face? Right? When you encounter scenarios like that pattern, remember I talked about pattern? When that pattern keeps repeating, what you are dealing with 99 times out of 100 is a case of specialized negativity. In other words, what's happened here is your unconscious mind has looked at the pattern of your life, decided to protect you, flips a switch that blocks you from moving forward. And the reason for that is, I'll jump back to this. The reason for this is got to remember, one of the prime directives, there's lots of prime directives or directives that the unconscious mind has, but one of the prime directives of the subconscious mind is it's designed to keep you safe. It's designed to protect you. Your unconscious mind is every bit, maybe even more, as smart as you are. Every bit. It controls your long-term memory. It controls your energy field, your heartbeat, and every piece of information that your unconscious mind thinks about doesn't reach the conscious mind until it passes through the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind does not need your permission to choose a behavior because it has default programs. And if the situation or circumstance you're in violates one of those prime directives, it will make a choice without your conscious understanding. That's why a lot of times you know exactly what to do, you know exactly where to do it, you know exactly what numbers to call, and you just can't pull the fucking trigger. It's because your unconscious mind has looked at the situation, it's referenced what's happened in the past and made a decision. It's applied a safety rule to that context that says you can't have that anymore because it's too dangerous. And here's what I mean. Your unconscious mind is watching you build your business or create that ideal relationship, reaches a point where you're really having this super success, and then it goes away. Maybe they cheated, maybe the person ran off with the money, maybe the market turned, whatever, but all of a sudden your business crumpled, your relationship crumpled, whatever, and there's pain, there's emotion, there's this punishment you've experienced from the outside world. Your unconscious mind doesn't want you to have that. It doesn't want you to have that. So what does it do? It's, oh my God. Twice now they've had a business, they've reached a certain point, and then when they lost it, they had this tremendous, tremendous pain. This can't happen anymore. I gotta stop them from having this pain. How am I gonna protect them from that? Now, here's the thing you need to understand about your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind has about the forward-thinking, rational, logical capacity of about a 10-year-old. It is deeply emotional, deeply, deeply emotional, right? If you've ever dealt with a deeply emotional, highly intelligent 10-year-old who makes a decision about something, you might have an idea of what you're dealing with here. That unconscious mind sees the pattern that you've had, that those two businesses crumbling, those relationships going away, the pain that you're experiencing, and it makes an arbitrary decision. It says, I got to protect him from this. I got to protect her from this. How can I make sure that they never go through this problem ever again? And they remember this, so they stay away from it. I know if they can never have another business, or they can never have another relationship like this, they can never lose it. And so your unconscious mind flips a switch, and all of a sudden, no matter how much willpower you muster, you can't move forward. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar? Go ahead and type it in the chat. I need to know that you're with me. Again, as a hypnotist, as a neurolinguistic programmer working for 15 years with people manifesting this pattern over and over and over again, here's the one thing I can tell you, is that when you have something that you're seeking to fix and it goes away and then it comes back, or let's say you have a problem that on a 0 to 10 scale is an 8 or 9, and you're working on it and it drops from an 8 or 9 to a 6 to a 5 to a 4 to a 3 to a 2 or whatever, and then it just stops. It doesn't get any better. What you're dealing with are safety lessons. You're dealing with an arbitrary reason that the unconscious mind has created to prevent you from moving forward, but it's not malevolent. It's not doing it to punish you, although it seems that way to the conscious mind. It's doing it to keep you safe. Okay, and by the way, this doesn't just matter in terms of like businesses or relationships. If you've ever been in an accident where you were physically injured, and after the incident, especially if you've done it more than once, after the incident, all the MRIs, all the imaging, all the tests say there's nothing wrong with you, and yet your range of motion suddenly becomes very limited, or you find yourself getting anxious in certain contexts or situations that are similar to the way you had the accident. What you're dealing with is that protective mechanism once again. The unconscious mind is saying, oh, I don't know that they actually, I don't think they're gonna, if they let this go, they might forget the lesson they learned from it and it'll happen again. So how can I make sure they never forget this lesson? I know if they never lose 100% of the pain, they'll always remember the lesson and to avoid those situations. And so it leaves a little bit of agony, a little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort or fear or anxiety, just lingering in the background. So that when you get to that certain range of motion, or you get in those environments that were similar to the problem, you get that little flashback. Does it sound familiar? Yes or yes? Yeah, okay. Again, level 2, you're dealing with safety lessons. We're going to show you the most powerful way I've seen to eliminate safety lessons in just a couple minutes. It's a big part of the webinar, but I wanted you to understand that it's part of a bigger system, okay? We're going to drill down heavy on this aspect. So if you got shit you want to clear, learn the process, apply it to yourself. If you need extra help, partner up with somebody who's on the webinar who are certified by me, and they'll help you get rid of these things, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go really quick through the rest of the silo because I want to get into the content of where I want to go with this. Has this been useful so far? Type in the chat if this has been useful. Okay, excellent, thank you. Cool. All right, you ready for more? Yes or yes? Okay. All right, so let's go back to this process. So Level 1, we clear the general negativity. Level 2, we get rid of those special negativity lessons. This is going to be a big one for you guys. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to install default driver states. Remember I said at the beginning of our webinar that everything about reprogramming your subconscious mind comes down to two aspects: controlling your psycho-emotional state and the patterns, the structure of your thoughts, beliefs, and ideas. And one of the things that we want to do is we want to give you default positive emotional states that change how you perceive the world around you, because every time you change your emotional state, you change the way you see the world. There is literally no bigger influencer to your How many people here are interested in raising their consciousness, or achieving enlightenment, or becoming more lucky, or any of those things? Okay. How many of you here have heard this thing called energy, or law of attraction, or vibration, things of that nature? Okay. Here's where all this comes together. The emotional states that you have in your body at any given time are directly equivalent to the vibrational message that you send out to the universe. Now, we're going to be doing probably in July or August, we'll be doing a Hidden Laws of Attraction webinar. We'll talk more about that aspect of it. But one of the things I want you to understand is that the feelings in your body impact a part of your brain known as the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system is the attention filter of your body. And so what it does, how many of you have ever heard me talk about the emotional refractory period? If you've heard me talk about that, type yes in the chat. If you haven't, type yes in the chat. And if enough people haven't heard of it, I'll elaborate on it. Cool. Okay. So here's the bottom line. I'm just going to give you really short how this works. You don't have to believe me. You can look up reticular activating system. You can look up the amygdala. You can look up all the physiological aspects of this. But here's how it works. If you are in a positive state, positive psycho-emotional state, your body has good feelings, your emotions are good, when you move through the world, you will pay attention to good things first. You will generally pay attention to good things first, because your neurology wants to stay in that state. You understand that? So if I walk into a room, let's say, and there's 10 pieces of information that I can pay attention to, 2 of them are negative, 8 of them are positive. I go into that room in a positive state, a positive belief system, a positive consciousness. Okay, a positive consciousness, a positive psycho-emotional state that has a high vibration that allows me to perceive the world through a different set of filters. The first thing I'm going to orient on when I walk into that room is going to be the positive information. Positive information. If I walk into that room and I'm in a negative state or a neutral state, there's 10 units of information in that room. 2 are positive, 8 are negative. Guess what I'm going to orient on first? Just type it in the chat. It's really a no-brainer, but I want participation. Negative, exactly. So here's what you need to understand. If you want to have control of your reality, you must take control of the filters that determine what you notice first. Let me say that again. If you want to take control of your reality, you must take control of the mechanisms in your mind and body that determine what you pay attention to first. Oh, Elsie says, how do we do that? 2 ways to do it. Change your body feelings. Here's one of the most important principles that you're going to learn from me today. If you haven't heard this before, even if you have heard this before, write it down. Because all the things I've just talked about come down to one thing: feelings. Feelings, nothing more than feelings. Anyway, that was I'll probably get banned from YouTube for singing somebody else's song. But anyway, everything human beings do, this pertains to intrapersonal influence, in other words, how you influence yourself, and interpersonal influence, how you influence other people. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. If you can deliver the body feelings to the person you're seeking to influence that are appropriate, they will automatically perceive the world in a way that gets you towards your outcome. If you want to change somebody's decision-making process, all you got to do is change your body feelings. If you want to change your reality, if you want to change from a can't have to a will have energy, from procrastination to motivation to discipline, all you have to do is change your body feelings. Now, LCO is asking, how do we do that? The two basic ways that we do it are posture and breathing. Posture and breathing. Some of you may have heard me talk about a woman's research by the name of Dr. Amy Cuddy, and she developed something called power poses, right? If you haven't, it's on YouTube, look it up. Now, the things we do in our advanced classes are well beyond anything that Amy's experimented with, but Amy did the early research on posture and breathing and how it affects your state. So if you want the science behind it, reference Amy's work. If you want the applications, come see us, okay? Because we were doing things back in 2005 that are even beyond what Amy was doing in terms of interviews and things like that. But she did the science, and so full credit to Dr. Cuddy's work on that. So this is how it works. Everything, no matter all the fancy psychobabble terms and all the cognitive behavioral BS and everything human beings do is going to distill down to a body feeling. Okay. If you want to understand this feeling network that I keep referencing, there's a book you might want to pick up called How Emotions Are Made. Let me repeat that. How Emotions Are Made. Okay. Yes, Keith is saying, talking about triggering the vagus nerve. Again, very useful, very interesting information, but not directly useful at this point, because that we're triggering the vagus nerve isn't as important as understanding that the breathing part of it is what does it. Okay, so posture and breathing. So you guys want to play a little game real quick? You guys want to play with me a little bit? Type in yes if you want to do that. Okay, now, quick thing. If you're driving, don't do this. If you're involved in any activity which requires your full and undivided attention, don't do this, okay? You can listen if you want, but even then I'd be careful, because again, we're doing things that people are gonna wanna play with, all right? So here's what I'd like you to do. We're gonna do this twice, just because I want you to feel good, okay? You guys want to feel good? Yes or yes? Cool. All right. So here's what I want you. I want you to stand up, and I want you to go ahead and think back to a time in your life. And you don't need to type while we're doing this exercise. I'll come back after we've done the exercises, and I'll let you guys give me feedback. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think back to a time in your life when you felt the most amazing, thrilling, fulfilling, satisfying pleasure imaginable, ever. I mean, the kind of pleasure that just the thought of it makes you salivate in a good way, right? Now, I'm not going to ask you what you were doing, who you were with, what substances were involved. I don't care if it was a physical experience, a gustatory experience, a romantic experience, a spiritual. I don't care about any of that. Okay, it could be as simple as biting into a freshly baked chocolate chip cookie right out of the oven. Could be the person you love most in the world telling you how much they love you in return. Could be the birth of a child. I don't care. Could be massive multiple orgasms. That's always a favorite, by the way. We have a whole class on that coming up in the end of July if anybody's interested. I don't care what the feeling is, but I want you to close your eyes and think back to the very best example of that feeling. And I'm curious about something. And when you think about that feeling, when you remember that feeling, where did you first feel it in your body? And point to it. And then it moved, it went somewhere else. And then it moved and it went somewhere else. And it just started to move around different places of your body until before you realized it, every part of your body was vibrating with that amazing feeling. And I want you to scan your body now. Remember where it was the strongest, where it is the strongest. Point to that And then what I want you to do is I want you to notice there's a color, maybe a series of colors connected to that feeling. Imagine a big ball of that energy floating above your head. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and changes with every breath you take. And every beat of your heart, that ball of energy begins to grow, begins to expand, begins to fill the entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of pleasure. A cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you from all less than pleasurable experiences, real or imagined, while at the same time flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most wants, everything it most needs, in an infinite, ever-expanding and unlimited supply. Now, when you're ready, I want you to go ahead and breathe that amazing color through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely, no force in the universe can turn it off or take it away, not even you. And as you feel that energy flowing into your mind, into the body, in every nerve, in every cell, in every atom, I want you to allow your body to move back into the way it was standing or sitting in that moment of amazing pleasure. Let the body go back to its the feel, the state it was in that moment. Let your breathing be exactly the way it was when you were feeling all of those amazing feelings. Let those feelings come coursing all throughout your mind and all throughout your body until it locks in completely. And when you know you've got that, when you're sure it's locked in, here's what I want you to do. Without changing a single thing about the way you're standing, without changing a single thing about the way you're breathing, summon up your willpower, and as an act of will, try to feel bad while keeping your posture and your breathing exactly the way you feel in that pleasure state. Take a moment. You may notice very, very quickly that it's impossible to do that. And when you're done, when you're satisfied that it's impossible to do that, stop testing, let that pleasure flow into your body and double again. Breathe it all throughout your mind, all throughout your body. Just like that. And when you know you've got that, you know it's locked in and you're feeling really good, go ahead and allow your eyes to open and type what you experienced in the chat. Go ahead and do that. What do you notice? Euphoric, light, euphoria, wanting to stay there? Perfect. Excellent. Full of joy? Perfect. Would this be useful? Right? Let me ask you a question. How many of you are interested in the law of attraction? Right? What does the law of attraction tell us? What does the law of attraction tell us? In a nutshell, it teaches us that you will attract into your life the situations, circumstances, and events that are in harmony with your vibrational frequency. Your vibrational frequency is equivalent to your body feelings, which change your perceptual filters, which raises or lowers your consciousness. Is this making sense now? So, if we want to manifest something, what do you think is a better state to be in? A high vibrational state or a low vibrational state? Type in the chat what you think. High, right? Bliss, love, orgasm, any form of pleasure are all curiosity, playfulness, victory, relentlessness are all high vibrational states. Let me repeat that. Curiosity, playfulness, victory, relentlessness, orgasm, pleasure, love, joy, gratitude are all high vibrational states. This is why all the Pablum level law of attraction teachers want you to show gratitude and all these things. It's not because there's an ethical or moral aspect to it. It's because these vibrations are higher than what most people go through. Remember, the system's rigged. Your nervous system has a negativity bias. It's designed to make bad shit feel worse than it actually is. And if you don't know that, you're going to be swimming upstream for most of your life. But if you understand that bias and you have a set of techniques to install high vibrational states, you can balance that equation. You can neutralize the excess negativity that you experience and reorient your filters to become more lucky, more open to opportunities and everything else. Does this make sense? Perfect. Okay, so how do you do it? You remember a time in your life when you had the state you want. You remember the posture, you remember the breathing, you point to where you feel it, you turn it into a color, you put the color above your head, you stand and breathe the way you're breathing, breathe it through your whole body. That's the process. And you do that before you do any other manifestation work. You do that before you do any form of transformational work. We call this, in our systems, our identity by design systems, our real world hypnosis systems, we call this resourcing. Okay? Most people, when they go to do affirmations, don't start doing affirmations till they're in a shitty mood. And they do the affirmations to get out of the mood. Some of you may have encountered this, right? No. Break the state first, change your state, do the work, you'll get a faster, better, deeper result, right? This is why when we go back to the identity by design silo, it becomes step number 4, or step number 3, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Let me, step number 3 in the identity by design process. So what have we done? We've dissolved all the general negativity clearing. We've dissolved the rules that hold you back from moving forward in life. We've installed default positive energy, high vibrational driver states inside of you. What's the next thing that we're going to do? We're going to change your internal voice. How many of you, by show of hands, have a voice in their head that's always talking shit to them? Right? If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's that voice that just said what voice? Right? We're going to teach you, in the identity by design system, we're going to teach you step by step how to go back and change that voice to a voice that builds you up, motivates you, and inspires you, that gives you all the reasons for why you can be successful instead of tearing you down and ripping you apart. How many of you have ever not done something because of that stupid nagging voice in your head? Right? We're going to show you how to change it so that it builds you up and moves you forward. Okay. Remember, the identity by design system is all about changing the building blocks of the system you've already got. So it makes you more of who you want to be instead of the person life conspired to make you. Does that make sense? Right? Cool. Excellent. So that's stage 4. Again, I'm just giving you the overview. Some of these things are going to be very powerful. Next is temporal editing. This is where we go back and we literally clean out all the crappy memories so that when you look back on them, you only remember them in ways that make your life better. Okay, so what if every time you look back on the history of your life, you saw it as a hero. You saw it as a person who overcame massive obstacles, who was emerging as the winner, who was no longer troubled by guilt and fear and regret and all those others, and sadness and grief. You saw them from a very different perspective where they empowered you instead of held you back. Would that be useful? Do you think that would move your life forward a little bit? That's what temporal editing is about. Okay, it would be like cutting the anchors, exactly. What if we could take all of this? And what if before you were even born, before you even had an experience in the external world, if we could actually program this process into your DNA? Do you think that would change you? How many of you are familiar with Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics? Okay, that's what a priori priming is. We take these processes, your unconscious mind has learned from all different angles how to do each and every one of these processes. Your unconscious mind has experienced them. Now we take this entire sequence and we install it. Hold on a second. We install it right here. So now it becomes a genetic template that your neurology is predisposed, it's already preset to follow. And then we cycle you through your history over and over and over again until that memory locks, that memory programming locks in. Okay, that's step 6 in the Identity by Design silo. Now, how many of you have somebody whose skill sets you absolutely would love to have, right? Maybe if you play tennis, maybe there's a tennis player who you would love to play tennis like this person. Or if you're an artist, you'd like to be able to create art like this person. Or if you're a hypnotist, you'd like to be able to hypnotize like this person, right? What if we could take those traits and qualities and attributes and install them directly into you? The process is often known as the Rykov effect. If you're studying any of the Russian studies, the term here in the US is known as deep trance identification. And it's been around in the hypnosis world for centuries. And so what we do as the final stage of the Identity by Design process is we teach you how to take the qualities, characteristics, and traits of people you admire and build them into you so that you can have those traits and skills. In fact, I stumbled across this process very early in my martial arts career. I discovered that when you watch a martial arts video, if you watch the video in a very associated perspective, your mirror neurons will start to replicate the movements of the person you're watching and will actually start to imprint their neural patterns into your muscles. So after a while, from immersing myself in these martial arts videos in a very, very short time, I was able to replicate the skill level of the people in the video that I was watching over and over and over again. In fact, after about 7 or 8 months of doing this, one of my advanced students started calling me the video sensei, because I could take a martial arts video and in a few short weeks walk into the dojo and literally be, in the context of those techniques, literally be that person and perform at that level, right? And I spent the last 30 or 40 years building on this phenomenon. I discovered it by accident in the martial arts, and I found out in the hypnosis world, there's this process of deep trance identification. So I brought these two things together, and using our approach to trance work, we've been able to very, very powerfully install these things in you. That's the Identity by Design system. So when you're ready to learn that system, that's what you'll be getting, plus all the other things, okay? Again, if this is the scope of everything there is to learn, we got time for this. We're going to drill down on some very key aspects. Now, this is where we start to make this more personal to you. This is where we're going to start to make this more focused on you. You see, each and every one of you logged on to this webinar because there was something that you wanted. Something you said to yourself, if I could just get this 1 or 2 things from David's webinar today, it would be worth everything. It would allow me to trust the content. It would allow me to trust the system. It would allow me to confidently move forward and take the next steps to get even more, to move my life forward. Now, I don't know what those things are, but you do. And I want you to stop for a moment and do 2 things. A, I want you to type that thing that you want into the chat right now. I want you to take a moment, type it into the chat. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to get out a piece of paper or a notebook and a pen, and I want you to write it on the paper, okay? Because the next drill that we're going to do is one of the most important drills you will ever learn with me. Okay, I teased you about it at the beginning of the webinar. We're talking about the emotional bonding checklist, or the emotional motivation checklist. This is where we start to make it real for you. Okay, and you need to experience this. So there's a drill. I'm going to put another slide up on the board that has a template that I want you to follow. So if you're confused by my instructions, just follow the template and you'll be fine. Are we cool? Are we clear with that? Excellent. Okay. So let me go ahead and throw this up here really quick. I have to find it. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So at the top of your screen, or at the top of your notebook, I want you to write down what that thing is that you want to take from this webinar. Okay. So let me just highlight this for you really quickly. Right. And then beneath that, I want you to write the answer to the question, what's that going to do for you? What's that going to do for you? If you were like using a couple of examples here really quick. If you were to remove the blocks to your success, what would that do for you? What would that do for you? And write that in this space right here. Once you've written that down, ask yourself this question. What's important about that? What's important about that? And go with your first impressions here, okay? Go with your first impressions. Whatever comes up first, don't analyze it, don't judge it, don't criticize it. Whatever comes up, write it on your screen or write it on your list, okay? Then I want you to speak the answer out loud and ask yourself that question again. What's important about this? So let me just, maybe this will make it simpler to understand the process. What's important about that? Whatever comes up, write that down. Now, if you're doing this right, you'll notice that as you continue to drill down on what's important about A, what's important about B, what's important about C, that emotions start to come up, okay? You only need to go about 2 or 3 levels of that question, all right? But I want you to take a moment and I want you to write, what's it going to do for you? What's important about that? Once you have that, what's important about that? And then ultimately, if you got all those things, as you connect all of those words to following my instructions in this webinar and doing what I tell you, what's important to you about that, ultimately? Now, sometimes it'll be freedom, sometimes it'll be security, sometimes it'll be joy or happiness. When you get a word like that, you've probably gone as far as you need to go. But when you've done that, just type done in the chat and we'll move on with the next part of our process. Okay, just type done in the chat when you've done that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, here's where it gets fun. Stand up. Let me just walk through this with you. Stand up. Take your notebook with your answers on there in your right hand. Hold it up at about a 45-degree angle. And 5 times, at least 5 times, I want you to read the answers only. Read only the answers to that template out loud 5 times. When you've done that, type done in the chat. Type done in the chat, or yes is fine, but let me know you've done it. Take your time buffer, it's okay. Yes. Yes, excellent, 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 excellent. Now, what happened when you read your answers out loud? What happened when you read your answers out loud? Type it in the chat. Physiological changes, Emotions rise up. Very good. You kept wanting to cry. Was that a good cry or bad cry? More intense emotions. I felt clannish. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Vibration. Excellent. Good. Here's what you've just done. Everything human beings do, powerful emotions, feelings of success, connection, Stephen's saying passionate, Amelia saying bliss, Nathaniel says happy. Right. Here's the secret. If you can give other people these kinds of feelings and connect them to what you want them to do, they will do anything you ask. Right? This is what, if you fall, again, we have another webinar where we teach how to do this for client building and sales and marketing and things like that. But this is how you find your why. You see, for each and every one of us, for every context or thing we can conceive of, we have an internal checklist that describes the ideal anything. So you have in your mind a template, a checklist that for the ideal lover, for the perfect job, for the perfect anything. You have in your mind an idea, a checklist for the perfect result that you want from this webinar, that you're going to get by following the instructions. By eliciting the exact words that describe, yes, you can sit down, Kristen, thank you. By eliciting the exact words, you tap into those emotions and that need to have it. How many of you feel more motivated to go for things now? Type that in the chat. Feel stronger, more confident? Exactly. You're on fire? Exactly. This is called the emotional motivation checklist. Now, we could do a whole training just on this. In fact, I often do. But as you link everything that we're getting in this webinar to the instructions I give you, you'll naturally find yourself moving towards getting all of these things in your life and more. And the more you follow the instructions, the more these will work for you and the more your life will evolve. Are you ready for more? Yes or yes? Perfect. So here's what we're going to do. I've put together a special package, a special offer. I told you about it at the beginning of the webinar. Like I said, if this is the scope of everything, we got time for this. This is where I teach you how to take it to the next level. I'm going to present this package to you, this training opportunity for you. If you like it, click those links, click those links, click those links. If you don't, just wait till we're done, because as soon as we're done talking about this package, we're going to come back. We're going to start drilling down on the foundations we laid in this webinar. We're going to run you through some techniques for clearing those blocks to your success, for programming your future, and to do all the other things that we talked about in the beginning. Does that sound like a fair trade? Type yes in the chat if that's cool with you. Okay, so I would assume that I have your permission now to take things to the next level. So with your permission, I'd like to talk to you about a program I put together called the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training for Success Home Study course. This is actually the entire identity by design process that we've talked about, plus a whole bunch more. If you use this process, you're going to find yourself gaining the ability to program your life for success, health, wealth, and happiness. You'll be able to make more money, get more dates, move through the world with more confidence. You'll take the randomness out of your life. You'll become more charming and charismatic, more irresistible. You'll have the ability to close more deals, win more job interviews, and make your life more of what you want it to be. And that's our promise to you. So here's what we put together. Now, this is a limited time offer. It expires today at 11:59 p.m. It's June 24th, 11:59 p.m. And here's what you're going to get. The Secrets of Personality Transformation Home Study course is a 14-video program that covers the entire 7-stage identity by design process, the mind control training system that we've covered with you. It's going to teach you how to clear the unconsciously held negative emotions and beliefs you didn't even know you had. It's a $297 value. We're going to show you how to remove the unconscious safety rules that are keeping you stuck. It's a $297 value. We're going to remove those negative voices in your head that hold you back. We talked about that earlier, right? We're going to install those 4 pillars, those 4 default driver states that change your frequency, that change your consciousness, and orient you towards more opportunity, success, joy, and happiness. We're going to teach you how to sanitize the negativity from your past, so that when you look back on the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. We'll teach you how to resolve and remove the traumas and the trauma memories from your mind and body, so that when you go to move forward into contexts that are similar to traumas that happened in the past, they no longer have power over you. It's a $297 value. Kristen's asking, is there a monthly installment plan available? Wait for it, Kristen, because there probably is. We're going to teach you once again how to install your personal success template right into your genetic memory. We talked about this. It's stage 7 of the Identity by Design, stage 6 of the Identity by Design silo, $297 value. And finally, when you've got all that locked in, we're going to show you step by step how to isolate, identify, and target the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people who you admire, geniuses and experts in their field who have a talent or a skill or an ability that you want, and lock it into your genetics, okay? I've used this process a ridiculous amount over the years, and it's allowed me to do things that people told me were impossible. Well, impossible just takes longer, okay? That's all. It's not impossible. So we're going to teach you how to do that as part of this process. We're also going to include the real-world hypnosis, hypnotherapy, Identity by Design course training manual, which has instant and rapid inductions, advanced conversational hypnosis techniques, the whole theory of energy psychology. It's a $418 value. It's going to teach you how to do imagination games and to really expand your ability to do altered state work. You're going to get access to a special online community with over 210 active members. We'll talk about that more towards the end of this particular presentation and what that's going to do for you. Total value is $2,497 if you go to the website and buy it. However, there's more that we're going to talk about, because one of the things that I do when I create programs, we've made our, I'm going to just jump off just for a moment. I'm just going to jump back to it. And I want you to understand something, that as a hypnosis and NLP trainer, we've made a reputation for ourselves of doing and focusing on certification through live events. And so when people ask me about videos versus live events, I'm always biased towards live events. But I also realize that because of COVID, because of the economic processes going on, travel isn't as easy. So when I decided to begin to put an offer together for you that would help you, I had to find ways to flesh it out. I had to find ways to create the best alternative to being in a live event. And so with your permission, I'm going to share with you some other things I'm adding to this package that will take it and round out your ability to learn this and go even further on your own. Okay? So is that okay? Yes or yes? Cool. All right. So here's what we got. We're also going to include these exclusive special bonuses. The first one is the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. So in addition to everything we've talked about, you're going to learn how to help other people tap into the power of their subconscious mind. You're going to be able to hypnotize anyone, anytime, anywhere, for any reason, to help them remove blocks to their success and limiting beliefs, to find and remove the hidden negativity they didn't even know they had, how to resolve pain and trauma and addictions and things of that nature in a very, very short time. We're going to teach you how to clear up issues that just don't seem to go away in your clients, to change the crappy voice in their head so that it builds them up and it builds you up instead of tearing you down, to resolve the negativity from your past, and finally, to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of the people you most want. You'll also learn how to do instant and rapid hypnosis inductions, about 20 to 30 different imagination games, which are actually secret covert inductions, the 7 most powerful language patterns that exist, how to evaluate people to determine if they're a good fit for this process, and how to take it further in a private practice so you can actually make money helping people live a better life. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to include this as part of your Identity by Design, your Secrets of Personality Transformation Home Study Course, absolutely free. Total value is $2,994 if you combine the 2 offers we've just talked about. We're not going to stop there, though. We're also going to include, remember, we talked a lot about law of attraction. We talked a lot about vibration. And this is where you can start to leverage this Identity by Design process that you're learning into a manifestation engine. This is the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind Magic, and Manifestation Made Easy Home Study Course. It was videotaped live. And it's a $1,497 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And this will actually teach you how to leverage all of the transformation work that we've been talking about, how to find and remove blocks to your success energetically as well as vibrationally. for health, wealth, and happiness that you didn't know you had, how to become a money magnet, how to influence people remotely, how to find and remove hidden negativity to clear up the issues that just don't seem to go away, a powerful new information method for programming your mind in a way that actually causes your neurology to amplify your drive and motivation to do it. When people experience this, and we have 3 different levels of this information process that we teach, each level is so powerful, it just blows them away. And each next level completely transforms people. So this is one of the most powerful engines of transformation and motivation possible that will rapidly change your vibrational frequency and allow you to pull things into your life that you didn't even realize were possible. Some people are already asking for the link. Let's see here. So if people want to post the link early, they can post the link early. That's fine. Install traits, qualities, characteristics. Oh, this is what's cool. Using the identity by design process. And as I was researching lucky people, remember all the things that we do is we want to become more lucky. Well, there's 5 psychological characteristics that all lucky people have in common. And once you have this identity by design process, you can take these 5 super lucky traits and install them at a genetic level using that identity by design process so that you can become a naturally lucky person. This is probably one of the secret solid gold pieces. If you have the combination of these courses together, that you can do that you can't do individually, because again, some of the information is only available in one course or the other. Finally, I'm going to teach you one of the most powerful engines of personal transformation and manifestation ever. It's called image cycling. You probably heard me talk about it. You've probably seen me do a few little experiments with it on various videos. We're going to show you step by step by step how to set up your list, how to do the cycling, and you will literally learn, you will change the taste and texture of water in as little as 5 minutes in a controlled experiment. You'll be able to do this in your home. Okay? And there's so much more. We'll actually show you how to set up your house from a feng shui perspective, and some more of the esoteric hidden feng shui aspects for manifestation, and how to do practices in those areas that magnetize and amplify that part of your house for more wealth. So again, this is a $1,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. Total value so far, if you were to go to our website and try to buy this, which by the way, you can't, is $5,491. Okay. But wait, we got more for you. We're also going to include, now remember, one of the things I talked about in other webinars is that there's 2 aspects to manifesting the life you want. There's what you do inside your mind and body, the beliefs you have, the identities, the feelings, all those things we talked about in this webinar. But then there's actually the external part. How do you communicate? How do you express or externalize your desires into the world, right? And so what I've included in this program is actually a couple of systems that teach you how to do that, how to take the influence from inside of you to outside of you. So this is our real world conversational hypnosis, stealth CPI, universal persuasion protocol, level 1. This will allow you to communicate your desires to people and tap into that emotional bonding checklist. Guys, remember when I had you stand up and read your answers out loud? Imagine, guys, remember how salivating, how much you were salivating to have the things you were expressing? What if you were talking to a client or a customer or a potential employer, if you could have them feeling that way about you or your product or your service, to the point that doing business or working with anyone else was completely off the table? That's what this will do for you and more. So here's how it happens. It's going to teach you how to hypnotize conversationally, how to activate that reticular activating system in people anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances, for any reason. So they're automatically primed to perceive you in the most positive way possible for you. Remember, I said the fastest way to change anybody's decisions or their consciousness is to change their body feelings. The very first thing you learn in the Universal Persuasion Protocol is step by step how to do that. So you can emotionally bond and connect with anyone you meet, anytime, anywhere, at will. We're going to teach you the ins and outs of how to control your own emotions so that no one can push your buttons ever again? What would it be like if you could move through the world and no matter what anybody said or what anybody did, even if you got taken by surprise, you could instantly get back to a calm, balanced, appropriate emotional state that would allow you to make the most of your attributes or assets or resources in that moment? What would your life be like if nobody could push your buttons ever again? Would that be useful? Type yes or yes if you think that might be useful. Okay, cool. That's the very first thing you'll learn in this real world hypnosis universal persuasion protocol. But we're not going to stop there. In this program, you will also learn the 7 most powerful hypnotic language patterns that exist. Patterns that are so powerful, that are so fundamental to how your nervous system creates your experience of the world that people can't not be affected by them. If one pattern will, what if you could actually make anything you want? The Echo Technique is actually an extra one. Yes, Angelina, thank you. What if you could make anything you want seem to cause anything you want in the minds of your listeners? What if you could have them hanging on your every word and thinking that you are their soulmate right away, within seconds? If they could be the most fascinating person in the room, that they remember you long after you've left and everybody else has been talking to them, they're still remembering you, right? What if you can make anything you want mean anything you want in the minds of your listeners, right? That's language pattern number 3. What if you could, through the use of your words, redirect a person's internal focus of attention, just like that reticular activating system does, so that they only focused on the things you told them to focus on and ignored everything else, or cause them to undergo an internal thought process in their mind without them even realizing you told them to do it. That's what language pattern number 4 will do. Language pattern number 5 will allow you to cause anybody's internal mental movies to be whatever you want them to be without any chance of it being different. Okay. Now, these patterns are so powerful that and so hard to, in fact, you can't detect them because they're natural parts of speech. You just have to understand what the neurological effects of them are and use them appropriately. And this course gives you a full training on how to do that. Whether you're doing marketing copy, whether you're doing phone sales, whether you're doing therapy, whether you're doing coaching, any place where language is involved, any place that language is involved, this works. Any context, from one-on-one to groups, it works, right? From email to chats, it works. From video to audio to phone, it works, okay? So what if you could instantly gain magnetic charisma and have people hanging on your every word? What if that was just a tiny piece of what's in this program that we're giving to you for free? It's a $1,950 value. It's yours absolutely free for those of you who sign up for the Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control Training home study course before the end of the webinar, okay? Total combined value so far is $7,441, but we're not gonna stop there. You know, one of the things that I talked about earlier, remember I said that you have this thing called the reticular activating system, and what it does is it causes you to orient on, like if you're in a positive state, it focuses on positive things, right? If you're on a negative state, it causes you to focus on negative things, right? But what if you could make those things that you're focusing on mean whatever you want? What would it be like if, like, let's say you have a limiting belief, right? Let's say that you're thinking about something, it comes up, and there's emotion connected to it. What if there were 14 different ways to change that limiting belief in yourself, overcome any connection that you have in any context, right? What if when you worked with a client, or you worked in a sales department, or you worked in an interview, somebody came up with a reason for not doing what you wanted them to do? What if you had 14 different ways to instantly change that decision or that belief? What would happen to your life? What do you think would happen? Just humor me on that. Type it in the chat. Right? That's what's coming up next. For those of you who like what I've talked about so far, this is the one that really has the ability to change you inside and out and to transform your life. This is called Renegade Reframing, how to rapidly change beliefs and instantly overcome any objection in just minutes. So $1,950 value. We're going to give this to you free. Let me explain to you why this is important and where it comes from. So 20, 30 years ago, a guy by the name of Richard Bandler, one of the founders of neuro-linguistic programming, as he was training NLP practitioners, he would teach people about something called reframing. Reframing is the ability to change the meaning that people assign to events and situations and circumstances. A lot of times when people are out there trying to influence you, they give you a fact and then they tell you what it means. But the fact isn't always the meaning, right? And so what happens is Richard would get up in front of the audience and he would challenge his students to try and change his limiting beliefs, and he would systematically, linguistically beat the living daylights out of them. And one of Richard Bandler's students, a guy by the name of Robert Dilts, after observing this for a number of years, realized that there were specific patterns, verbal techniques that Richard was using to completely destroy and undermine the belief systems and the attacks of people who are trying to change his beliefs. Now, if you've ever been the target of a narcissist, a manipulative SOB, a liar, a Machiavellian, a sociopath, they're going to do these things to you all the time. If you know what gaslighting is, you've been a target of some of these tactics. This course will teach you 14 different ways, before you start combining them, to destroy any limiting belief, objection, or verbal attack that you are faced with. Okay? It even includes a card game. We call it the reframe game. And the way it works is you spit out a limiting belief or something that is that you want to change, and then you throw a card at one of your partners, and they have to reframe the belief using one of the cards. It's included in the package. There's a whole manual that goes with this, and you can play it and get really, really good at it. It's fun as hell. We've made this fun. It's user friendly. These patterns have been around a long time, but the courses that teach them are usually very advanced. They're full of jargon that people don't understand, and people really can't wrap their heads around this. We've made this super fun and super simple, and you can actually start to stack these together and just destroy any belief, on yourself or on other people. Literally, all you have to do to change a limiting belief is write down your limiting belief on a piece of paper and just start writing out a different frame for that belief. And within seconds of writing these things down, one of them will change you. It's really cool. So again, what we've done with this package is the first piece is what you do inside your head, what you do with your body, with your mind, with your neurology, that allows you to become the person who can express themselves using these techniques. So this part covers external and internal. CPI-1, the Stealth CPI program we just talked about, covers your ability to speak in a way that people just want to do what you want them to do. Okay. We're going to give this to you absolutely free as a way to round out your training. Okay. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Okay. Total combined value is $9,391 if you register before the end of the webinar. Now, let's review what we've got so far. Okay. I know we've promised to teach you more stuff, and I will, but we got to get through this part first, and we need to get as many of you moving forward in the way that you know you want to do it as possible. So we're going to give you that Secrets of Personality Complete Transformation Home Study course, 14 videos plus the manual with the 7-stage identity by design process that we've gone through. It's a $2,497 value, but we're also going to include the real world hypnosis identity by design hypnotherapy certification. This will allow you to go out and start helping clients and customers, doing instant and rapid inductions, profile your clients, use the 7 most powerful hypnotic language patterns that exist and a whole lot more. It's the $1,497 value. We're going to include the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind, Magic, and Manifestation Masterclass. It's a $1,497 value where you get to leverage all the things you've done in Identity by Design and use it to manifest the life you want, the way that you want it at a metaphysical and vibrational level. But it's not theory, it's all proven. Okay. In fact, I challenge you to take this course and try to fail. Okay. Bonus, Stealth CPI Level 1, the Universal Persuasion Protocol. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And then finally, we're going to throw in there so you can change beliefs in yourself and in others. We're going to teach you how to overcome any objection and change beliefs instantly during normal conversations with the Renegade Reframing system. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Total value, if you were to buy these on the website, and by the way, you can't. I know for a fact Renegade Reframing is not yet available on our website. The only place you can get it is in this webinar special offer. Total value is $9,391. Now, obviously, with COVID and everything else, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people are going to shortchange themselves and not going to want to go forward. So what I've done is I've tried to make this as user-friendly and simple to move forward as possible. A lot of people are asking about payment plans and things like that. So let me tell you what I've got for you. Today, I want to give you the best deal humanly possible. So you're not going to pay $9,391. You're not going to pay $63,000 or $6,347. God, I wish I would charge $63,000. That would change my life, right? We're not going to charge you that. We're not even going to charge you $53,000 or $5,347. We're not going to charge you $3,347. You know what? We're not even going to charge you $2,347. That's less than the price of the regular program. In fact, what we're going to do for those of you who are really wanting to change your life, who know that this material will change your life, and you're ready to take that step, when you're ready to go forward now, you can get it all. Every single thing I've talked about in today's event for one low installment of just $997. And for those of you who need a little extra help, you can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397. All you've got to do is go to www.nlppower.com/mind, www.nlppower.com/mind. Stephanie and Brandon are in the background helping people with any questions that you may have. Okay. Now, remember, Stephanie is there for you. This offer is good until 11:59 this evening. It's June 24th, 2021. So you're going to save a huge amount. It's going to give you all the tools, tactics, and techniques to move your life forward. All you got to do is go to www.nlppower.com/mind, www.nlppower/mind. You can put those in the chat rooms for people. Perfect. All right. Now, a couple of things. Maybe you're on the fence a little bit. Maybe you're not sure if you're ready to invest in yourself, right? If you think maybe you're not sure if you're worth it. Here's the deal. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Take this program now. Try it for 90 days. If at the end of 90 days, you aren't making more money, pulling more love into your life, if you're not attracting more success or manifesting the life of your dreams, if you're not feeling more confident and more secure, or you don't have the tools to do that, you're having any sticking points whatsoever, I'll refund your money. A lot of people give 60 to 30 days or 60, take 90 days. Apply this material to your life. If you're having any sticking points, reach out to my administrative goddess, Stephanie, at 858-282-4663, and she will help you and guide you. Okay, 858-282-4663. Okay, you may notice that there's 2 URLs in the chat. It's because we changed the URL. It's the same offer. So whether it says unconscious or whether it says mind, it's going to the same page. You're going to get the same best deal, right? So again, you have absolutely zero risk here. I'm taking all the risk for you, right? And you can even keep the courses as my way of saying, thank you for giving it a shot. Because if our systems don't work for you, I want you to find something that does. But again, as I've said before, you don't even have to believe it. Notice I said nowhere in this presentation did I talk about you having to believe that this will work. It's because it's about mechanics. It's about how your system, your nervous system, vibrationally and physiologically and organically actually work. Virginia's asking, if I'm a beginner, which of these programs should I do first? Start with the very first program I presented, which is the Secrets of Personality Transformation program. Move on to the Real World Hypnosis Identity by Design, and just take it in the order I presented it, and you're going to do great, right? If you have any questions, give Stephanie a call at 858-282-4663. If you, and again, people, this always sells out, okay? If you call and the line is busy, or you get voicemail, if you leave your contact information, let me explain this. This is important. If you leave your contact information, you will qualify for the bonuses that we've presented so far. Okay, they're valid until 11:59 p.m. tonight, and then they go away. Now, all these courses are perfectly worth it at full price, but if you want the biggest bang for your buck, we put a lot of thought into how putting this course together, so that every piece of it is rounded out. It's the most user-friendly approach to transforming yourself from the inside and out, giving you the skills to change your own unconscious mind and to influence the subconscious minds of other people in an ethical, honest, beneficial, benevolent way. You'll be the good Jedi, right? We're giving you 90 days to test the system out. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, pick up the phone. We'll work you through the sticking points. If we can't do that, we'll refund you, okay? When you contact Stephanie, as you click the link, click the link, click the link. If you need help or you have a question, contact Stephanie. If it's busy, leave your contact information. She will return your call, and you will qualify for any of the bonuses we've talked about. If you don't leave your contact information, we can't help you. You will not qualify. And so people are always rushing to the back of the room, metaphorically speaking, to take advantage of these. We don't offer them that often. So please take advantage of this. We don't know if we'll ever offer this again. But we want you to move your life forward. We're in that reset period. It's the perfect time to do something different, to invest in yourself and move forward in your life, to get the life you want the way that you want it. Okay, thank you. Ed just completed his order. He's with us, so perfect. So let me go back to this. Now, again, you have zero risk for this. Now, for those of you who like to get started really fast, go to www.nlppower.com/mind. That's www.nlppower.com/minds. www.nlppower.com/minds. Again, don't miss your opportunity to do this. For those of you who are real fast action takers, for those of you who are fearless, for those of you who want to be the person you say you want to be, if you want all those things, remember at the beginning of our webinar, I asked you, what do you want? What's it going to do for you? What's important about that? If you really want those things, I'd like you to pay attention now, because if everything I've talked about wasn't motivating enough, for the next 15 to 25 of you that grab your course now, before June 24th, 2021, 11:59 p.m., before I log off this webinar, we're going to also include these special bonuses for you. These are only available during the live webinar. In other words, when I log off this webinar, these bonuses go away forever. Okay? They go away forever. So if everything else wasn't motivating, please pay attention. Okay? This is only for people who want to start today. Okay? We're going to give you one of the most important things that you need for success. One of the things I talked about at the beginning of our webinar, when I was explaining the NLP Power or the hypnosis, Secrets of Personality Transformation, I talked about an online community. One of the things that we have made a name for ourselves in is in this realm of live training. One of the things that will take you from interesting information to lasting transformation is surrounding yourself with people who have the same desires and interests and motivations as you do. The ability to stand shoulder to shoulder, face to face with people and do the drills and get the skills. I have been running a special program, a special group since 2010. It is the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. Let me tell you a little bit about what this is, because this is where you separate the wheat from the chaff, from the people who are going to become truly successful from the people who are just going to kind of be tourists. What this is on the third Saturday of every month, I bring a bunch of people into my clinic in Solana Beach, Florida, and I say, what do you want to learn today? Brandon, what do you want to learn? Edwin, what do you want to learn? Anand, what do you want to learn? Jeffrey, what do you want to learn? Joseph, what do you want to learn? Zach, what do you want to learn? Allegra, what do you want? Holly, what do you want to learn? And I listen to what they say and I write them on the board. And when I'm all done, I go back, I look at what they've asked to learn about, I see where they all connect. And I create a lesson plan right on the spot. And for the next 4 hours, I drill you on those skills until you can do them in your sleep. Okay. You know, one of the things that I always tell my students, especially in my live events, is that for everything you get from me, you will always pay twice. Okay. The first payment's the easy one. That's the money, because you can always make more, right? The money gives you access to the information, but it's the second payment that gives you ownership. And that payment is time, energy, effort, doing the drills and getting the skills, and having somebody work with you in a way that you get the feedback that you need, that you get the support that you need. And that's why people keep coming back to our live events and our masterminds. It's not just about the information, which is the best in the world. And don't believe me, talk to the people in your chats. It's because you're going to be surrounded by people who want the same things you want, who want to learn the same things you want, who are looking for people to practice the same things you want to practice. For those of you who click that link now before the end of this webinar, we're going to give you the opportunity to do that. We're going to give you a 3-month free trial to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, which, by the way, our next meeting is this Saturday. So if you sign that, if you click that link now, you can play with us live and in person or virtually, wherever you are in the world. Marina's asking, how will that work if we don't live in the US? It's very simple. We're doing it on Zoom. Prior to COVID, we had a live cohort in the class and we streamed it through Facebook. Once COVID hit, we went fully virtual. Now, as we're coming out of COVID, we're still fully virtual, but we're inching towards live event trainings and simulcasting it. So for those of you in other parts of the world, you can log in. It's from 11 a.m. Pacific to 4 p.m. Pacific. It's done through Zoom, and we break you up into groups. We have you practicing. We give you feedback. We share things with you that will never be on a public channel, right? Anybody who's in the mastermind, please type in the chat your experiences in the mastermind, okay? And tell them what it's like. And you won't get a certificate from the mastermind. What you will get is a skill set. You'll come in, I'll ask what you want to learn. We'll drill you on those skills till you can do them in your sleep. And then you go out into the world, you apply those skills, you come back the next month, I'll say, what do you want to learn? If you want to go back over the same thing, we'll do that. If you want to take it to the next level, we'll do that. It's your class. It's a group mentoring program, and people absolutely love it. We've run that continuously every month of every year since 2010. Now here's a little unannounced bonus. What we didn't tell you was that we have been videotaping and recording every single one of those training sessions since 2010. And we've archived them in 3 places. We have a big chunk of them on the NLP Power website. We have a big chunk of them on our YouTube channel, and an even bigger chunk of them on our Facebook private group. As a member of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, you get 24-hour-a-day full access to the entire 10-year archive of video for as long as you're a member of the program. So you'll be able to binge watch 10 years, hundreds and thousands of hours of stuff, from energy healing to attraction and dating to soulmate work to pain control to instant and rapid inductions, language patterns, memory techniques. The full spectrum of everything that we do is available to you in that video archive. It's yours absolutely free for as long as you're a member of the NLP Power Mastermind Group. Try it for 3 months. If you like it, let Stephanie know. We'll extend your membership. We'll show you how to do that. How to maintain your membership in the subscription. If you don't, you got 3 months of awesome stuff. You got the ability to hang out with people who want the same things you do, right? It's a $594 value, but if you think about what I've just talked about, it's actually a whole lot more, okay? So again, this is what it's about, right? So, but this goes away when I log off the webinar. So that's the first one. For those of you who are fast action takers, all you got to do is go to www.nlppower.com/mind. It's www.nlppower.com/mind. But you know what? I'm not going to stop there. Okay. We're also going to include the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis crash course. This is a $997 value. We're going to include this absolutely free. And this is a drill down on those 7 language patterns that I talked about. You're also going to learn about the 3 magic questions protocol, which can take you from complete stranger to a deep level relationship of trust and intimacy bordering on love in as little as 20 minutes. You're going to learn how to do instant and rapid inductions. You're going to have 5 videos on what I call instant influence, which is me teaching a live meetup of hypnotic language training. And I believe there's also a video called Anchors in Action and Hypnotic Hot Buttons, which are all about the emotional bonding checklist combined with Pavlovian triggers, which is kind of like stimulus response. NLP calls them anchors. You learn how to set anchors, how to dissolve anchors, how to use them to have state control on demand, tap into other people's personal hypnotic processes for doing what you want them to do. It's a $997 value. It's only, and this course was specific, it comes with manuals and transcripts, and it's specifically designed to allow you to start hypnotizing people right away. So you can literally download this product, watch 2 videos, and be instantly using rapid inductions on people or conversation hypnosis language, things of that nature. It's specifically designed for people who don't want to waste time going through 7 days of content. They want to learn the down and dirty stuff so they can go out and be functional right away. So this is a great fast start bonus. It's a $997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Total combined value of everything I've talked about so far is $10,982. But wait, in case you were wondering, I have one more really cool thing for you. And this is probably, people yell at me for doing this, but I think this is actually the thing that sets us apart from every other trainer out there. For those of you, next 15 people to register for this program, and if you've already registered, you qualify. This is a VIP super ticket. And what this does is this gives you free admission to any single live event of your choice in our 2021-2022 calendar and beyond. So let me explain to you a little bit about how this ticket works, because there are some restrictions and there's a lot of benefits to it. So I really want you to understand what you're getting when you click that link and grab your program today. So this is limited to the first 15 people to register today. And when it's gone, it's gone. Uh-oh. Did we just, are you guys still with me? Hold on a second.
You're good, David.
Okay, that was weird. All right. Okay, so here's how it works. This VIP super ticket can be used for any single live event that I am promoting. If I'm doing a joint venture with somebody, this does not count. If I'm doing a training that's over 7 days and over, does not count. Beyond, and if you need a prerequisite, we got to talk. But beyond that, here's how it works. Once you have this ticket, it is good for you until you use it. In other words, if you get this ticket today at 5:57 p.m., June 24th, 2021, and you don't use it until 2026, it's still good, right? This allows you to come to any single live event, even if the event is sold out. If we've met our quota, there's no seats, you say, hey, Stephanie, I want to come to XYZ training. I have this VIP ticket that I got on the webinar. Can I come? We'll say, come on in. We'll find a seat for you. If a training comes up at the last minute that you didn't think you could go to, but all of a sudden it comes up and you want to go, all you do is pick up the phone. We'll say, come on in. Let's say something comes up at the last minute where you're getting ready to go to a training and all of a sudden maybe there's another COVID outbreak, maybe there's a travel restriction, maybe your jerk boss makes you work, maybe there's a death in the family, maybe you get sick, whatever reason you can't make the training. All you do is pick up the phone, send Stephanie an email, we will move you to another training. You have this ticket, the ability to come to this live event until you use it. Another great part about this is that the price points no longer matter. UK is opening up, Cyprus is opening up, Canada is going to be opening up soon. As soon as all the travel restrictions are done, we're going to start doing more and more events. Australia is going to be opening up. And when we go to Europe or the UK, we always do things in the country's currency. So if you go to the UK, everything's going to be in pound sterling. If you go to Cyprus, everything's going to be in euro, right? If you have one of these tickets, the price, and you notice there's a big exchange rate between dollars and euros or dollars and pounds. If you have one of these tickets, that price difference goes away. It doesn't matter what the price of the seminar is. As long as you have one of these tickets, you can just go right in. It doesn't matter where the ticket is. Okay. Susan says UK may be shutting down again. Well, that's okay, because this ticket don't expire. So when it opens, it'll be there for you, Susan. Okay. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You can gift this to people. Let's say you have somebody who wants to experience an event with us that maybe you can't go to. You can gift them this ticket and they can come. You could also say, hey, I have this VIP ticket. Why don't you and I split the difference? We both pay half. You can both come to it. You can bring a friend for half price if you think about it like that, right? If you just, each of you pays half. There's lots of ways you can use this ticket, right? The best part about it is, David says, can you recommend an NLP training group for Master Prac? Not off the top of my head. Is the VIP super ticket a separate offer than the first offer? No, it's included. It's all one offer. Okay, so these are the 3 fast action bonuses: the NLP Power Mastermind Training Program, the Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course, and this VIP super ticket. Now, if for some reason the course you want to come to has prerequisites, for example, next week, or actually in 10 days or so, I'm going to be teaching a course called Vibrational Healing in Las Vegas. You can't come to that class unless you've passed Killer Influence or Identity by Design. So if you have one of these VIP tickets and you want to come to the vibrational class, we're going to tell you up front that you have to get Killer Influence done, or you have to do Identity by Design first. So you can't use this for a course that has a prerequisite. Okay. So those are some of the things that, and if I'm doing a joint venture with somebody, because I have to split revenues, I can't jip my partners, so to speak. So this only works for events that are fully sponsored and promoted by me on my NLP calendar. If you have any questions about what you qualify for and what you don't, just give Stephanie a call at 858-282-4663. That's 858-282-4663. And she can clarify things. Now, one last thing that I want to cover with this program is that, I just open loop myself here. Where's the link for the Identity by Design course only? Not sure what you're talking about there. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Let's say, for example, by the way, total combined value for this is $12,932. But you can get it all for just one low installment of just $997, or 3 easy installments of $397. Here's what I wanted to talk to you about really quick. Let's say that you've been around Planet David for a while and you have some of these courses, right? If you have any of these courses already, but you want to take advantage of this offer, all you got to do is let Stephanie know that you've got some duplicates, and you can substitute any course that has an equal or lesser value. So let's say you already have Stealth CPI. Well, you can go back through our product catalog, find a program that is of equal or lesser value, and say, Stephanie, can we substitute CPI level 2 for Stealth CPI level 1? So same price point, not a problem. So again, you can customize your package a little bit based on the purchases you've made in the past. So the total value of this package so far is $12,932. It's going to include the Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control Training Home Study Course plus the manual. It's a $2,497 value, but we're also going to include the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course valued at $1,497. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're going to give you the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Mastery Training Home Study Course, $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're going to give you the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, $1,950 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're going to give you Renegade Reframing, the Art of Conversation and Belief Change and Overcoming Objections, $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you for free. You're going to get 3 months of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Live Class, virtual training, and the 10-year NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Video Archive, total value $594 value, absolutely free. And again, the access to that archive is only valid for as long as you're an active member of the Mastermind Mentoring Program. So at the end of 3 months, if you decide you don't want to keep it, well, you lose access to those archives as well. But if you decide to stay, you have access to those 10 years and all the ongoing stuff for as long as you're with us. And we have people who've been with us since the beginning. We've had people come in for a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months. They get what they need, they move on. And that's fine. There's no contracts. There's no long-term commitment. It's about getting you the skills you need to move your life forward, to help you to actually actualize the skills rather than just reading about them or watching them on a video. We're also going to include the Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course. So you can download it tonight, start hypnotizing people tomorrow. It's a $997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And finally, to put the icing on the cake, if you want to actualize those skills even further, we're going to give you that VIP super ticket. It gives you your choice of any single live event in our 2021-2022 calendar and beyond. Even if it's not on there yet and we add it at the last minute, if you qualify for it, you can use that ticket. It does not expire. Price points no longer matter. And it's going to take you from 0 to hero in the shortest amount of time possible. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.nlppower.com/mind. That's www.nlppower.com/mind. If you have any questions, give Stephanie a call at 858-282-4663 or email her at stephanie@nlppower.com. And if you need a little extra help, we can break that up into payments. We can give it to you in 3 easy installments of just $397. Keith Anthony says, I've saved lives with David's free technology. True, very true. I know Keith for a while. He runs his own podcast and radio show. I know he's used this. These things are powerful. They work, and you're going to learn some even more powerful stuff when we come back. So as you're finished finalizing your processes, we're going to go ahead and take a 7-minute break. We're going to come back at 6:12. When I come back at 6:12, we are going to continue to teach. We're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to teach you the special negativity clearing process. We're going to do some negativity clearing inductions together. We're going to show you how to program things into your future. We'll take you as far as we can in the time that we have. We'll customize the content. Once again, thank you for listening to this presentation, for taking advantage of this special offer. Click that link, click that link, click that link before it's too late. We're going to come back at 6:12. Use the restroom if you need to after you click the link. And we're going to start teaching again. It's 858-282-4663. Go to www.nlppower.com/mind. And I will see you in 6 minutes. All right, folks, we're back. You guys ready to learn some more stuff? Type yes in the chat if you're ready. Thank you for bearing with me. I know, some people always think that this is about pitching and things of that nature. It's not. It's about taking your life to the next level. It's about giving you a path and showing you where to go next. But I don't think anything should ever be bought without test driving it first. And that's what our classes like this are really about. It's about test driving the technology and proving to yourself that this can change your life. Okay. And so that's where we're going to do. So what we're going to do now with the next section of our webinar is we're going to start to functionalize many of the things that we talked about. Now, every time I do this webinar, I do it differently. Even though I cover some of the same things, we share slightly different information. We may go through different aspects of the fundamentals. So what I'd like to share with you today, how many of you, just by a show of hands, are planning on doing this solo? In other words, you're going to use this technology primarily on yourself. If that's your primary focus, type me in the chat, okay? And again, I get that we're all going to use these things on ourselves, but sometimes our focus is on clients first and then us, and sometimes it's on us and then clients. And I need to know what is the priority so I can customize this information for you. Okay, myself, me and clients, me first, client second. It's never about me, it's a we world, okay? Angelina, me, okay. So here's one of the things that always bugged me about the self-help community is that everybody would write a book or they would go to a seminar and they would tell you what to do, but hold back on the how, right? Now, most of you have had a similar, how many of you had that experience where they've told you all about the things you should be doing, but they're not giving you the how to do it, right? That's one part of the problem. The other part of the problem is understanding the dynamics of your subconscious mind. You see, one of the problems that we have is that your unconscious mind has certain default mechanisms. A, it gives bad things more power than good things automatically, okay? Because it's much more useful from an evolutionary standpoint to run from the saber-toothed tiger than to rejoice at your child's first steps, right? One allows you to do the other. Does that make sense? And so nature in her infinite wisdom built into us a default bias. And the ratio that I want you to really, and take notes on this and get the book, The Power of Bad by Roy Baumeister and his co-author. And that's what one of the problems is, because when how many of you work with clients, just by a show of hands? How many of you actually work with clients? Okay. How many of you notice that a lot of times it's a lot easier to fix your client's shit than it is to fix your own? True, not true? Okay. Here's why. We have different levels of consciousness, right? We talk about going meta to something. Meta means above. You have certain predispositions in your neurology that make it very hard to work on yourself. What I'm going to share with you now is a preliminary exercise that if you do it, if you take the time to do it, will allow you much more power in applying any technique you know to transforming yourself from the inside out. Would that be useful? Roxy says, can you use these techniques with your kids? Oh, absolutely. I use it all the time. Absolutely, all the time. Okay. So I'm going to teach you a technique called bucket listing. Okay. Now it has a cool name. And the reason I call it bucket listing is because, bucket lists are basically all the things you want to do before you shuffle off this mortal coil, right? If you have, for somebody's diagnosed with terminal cancer, they have all these things they want to do before they die, right? One of the problems that we have when we want to work on our own stuff is that your unconscious mind, one of the dynamics of the unconscious mind that you need to be aware of is that it doesn't choose good or bad. It doesn't sort for good or bad. until much later in its evolution. What it does do is it sorts for what is familiar. Okay, so let me give you a real quick example. Again, I know people are kind of want to get to the meat, but this is the meat. So please pay attention. There's this thing in the human being that I call the acceptance, rejection, projection, connection. What that means is when you come into this world, you're nothing but a big blank hard drive. You're this innocent consciousness that has no information other than a few hardwired instincts, like fear of falling, fear of loud noises, things of that nature. But what happens is over time, you start to accumulate experiences. And what happens is there's a part of you that has the experience, and there's a part of you that reflects on the experience. Are you guys following me so far? So there's a part of you that has it. There's a part of you that contemplates or thinks about it. And what happens is over time, if you ever seen one of those infinity mirrors where you have a reflection of a reflection of a reflection of a reflection, and it just goes off into infinity, and you're not sure which one is the real thing, your consciousness is a lot like that. So when you come in and you have this experience, there's a part of you that reflects on it. And there's another part of you that reflects on the reflection on the reflection. And that keeps happening until you lose track of which one is the real you, right? Because it's all you. But what happens is at some point in that process, that reflecting part of you, that reflective, starts to make judgments. It starts to make value judgments on what it perceives. And a lot of times those value judgments are based on the body feelings you had at the time. And they're based on the information that came to you from outside of you, from your parents, from your teachers. If you ever stop for a moment, let's just do this exercise really quick. Stop for a moment and think of that voice that nags at you, that tells you all this shit, why you don't deserve things, why things the voice that holds you back. In case you're wondering what voice I'm talking about, it's the voice that just said what voice. Close your eyes and point to it. Point to it. And then go with your first impression on this, by the way. When you point to it, notice where it is. Now again, I can't see most of you, but I'm going to bet that for the majority of you, the location of that voice was at about a 45-degree angle to one side of your head or the other. Would that be true or not true? If that's true, type it in the chat. Close behind, okay. Now, I'm curious about something. Why might that be? In the heart? Okay, interesting. Why might that be? Adults are taller. Edwin's been to a few of our classes. He knows this, right? The reason is because the voice in your head didn't start there. The voice in your head started out here because this is the angle that parents have to their children when they speak. So if you come into this world and you're held and you're nurtured and you're told how much you're loved, okay? After a certain amount of time, those words, those behaviors, those body feelings become associated with a word we come to know as love. Okay? Flip the script a little bit. If you come into this world and sometimes you're held, sometimes you're not. Sometimes people talk nice to you. Sometimes they yell and scream at each other around you. Sometimes they talk about you like you're not even there. And it causes you to have these feelings of anxiety or worry or shame or guilt. Well, after a certain amount of time, believe it or not, your unconscious mind will associate those body feelings, those behaviors, with the word love. Now, years later, as you look back on it consciously, there'll be a disconnect. And yet you will seek to recreate unconsciously those same dynamics in all of your relationships because they became the templates. And this is the reason. When you're born, you're a blank hard drive. You don't know good from evil. You only know a couple of things. Something either feels good or it doesn't. It's either new or it's familiar. One of the biggest problems that we have in working with the unconscious mind is this lack of knowledge that the unconscious mind does not sort for good or bad. Those distinctions come much later in your evolution, in your growth process. What the unconscious mind sorts for is what is familiar. What was there the longest, what was there the most consistently, that's what the unconscious mind defaults to. So one of the problems that we have when we go to work on ourselves, how many of you have ever had a problem, didn't know how to fix it, ran to Amazon, the local bookstore, and bought a book on how to fix the problem? Anybody? Type it in the chat. Here's the problem with that. And here's why most of the time it doesn't work. Human beings have a negativity bias. So one of the first things that happens is you don't pay attention to something until it becomes the most heinous, painful element of your life, until it takes up more bandwidth than anything else, and you just can't take it anymore. Okay, that's your negativity bias, right? But you also, because it has the most amplitude, it's also the thing that's most familiar. So what has been set up when you try to work on yourself is you have this dynamic. You have this big Godzilla-sized problem that your neurology in most cases has years of practice living and experiencing and doing. And in the other hand is the self-help book with a technique you barely know. More often than not, you got to read the instructions from the book while you're trying to deal with the most emotionally challenging thing in your life. It's literally a Bambi versus Godzilla dynamic, and that's why you fail. Because the unconscious mind, when it has a choice between going for this potentially new good thing or what it knows how to do really well, guess what it does? It goes right for the bad thing every single time. So what's needed is a process that allows you to level that playing field. In other words, if you've got a level 50 problem, you're not going to beat it with a level 1 technique. That's self-directed. What you need to do is you need to create a level 1 intervention for a level 1 problem. And that's what I'm going to teach you, because what happens is we're going to teach you how to build up a history of success. Because what's literally happening is your unconscious mind is going, okay, here's the situation. Here's what we normally do. It's worked this many times. What do you want me to do? Okay. How many times have we done that? We've done it 0. How many times has it worked? 0. We're going to do this. We need to set up a different dynamic. And that's what bucket listing will allow you to do. It will allow you to reorganize your shit being a technical term, specialized hypnotic influence technologies or techniques or traumas, so that you have a level 1 technique, you throw it at a level 1 problem, you destroy the level 1 problem, now it goes to a level 2 technique, you throw it at a level 2 problem, you destroy the level 2 technique, now it goes to a level 3 problem, or level 3 technique, you throw it at a level 3 problem, it goes away, and you just keep building that level of power in the technique until it can take on the level 50s and the level 40s or whatever. That's the concept. Does it make sense? If it makes sense, type it in the chat. Now, normally, I'll be upfront with you. If I were just going to guide you through a session and just help you clear shit, I wouldn't bother with this technique. But because a lot of you are going to be doing this on your own, this is the difference. This is going to give you the edge. It's going to level the playing field for you. So this is called bucket listing. Let's talk about how we do this. So the first thing, there's 2 ways you can approach bucket listing. You can either do what I call thematically, or hold on a second. Let me pull up my sheet here. I'm trying to find my bucket list sheet. Apologize for the delay. Here we go. All right. Sometimes I have it right on display in my OneNote. Sometimes I have to look. I have to look for it a little bit. Where's my? There it is. Okay. So here's what we got. So this again, you're going to need some paper. So there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can do this free form, And again, we're going to cover each of these. You decide which way you want to do it. You can do this free form, or you can do this thematically. So let me start with the thematic part of it and explain how this works. When you're working thematically, you can start with any broad subject that you want, like fears, grief, fear. Hold on a second. Fear, grief, sadness, anger, doesn't really matter. But everything on your list will have to do with either fear or one of these. You pick one. So you find the thing that let's say we're going to work with anger, right? So I would take the thing that makes me the angriest. Actually, let's do fear instead, since I already have this prepared for you. So we're going to work with fears, all right? So let's say I have a phobia of heights, right? And that's the strongest fear that I have. That's my 10. And then what's the next strongest fear that I have? Might be fear of rejection, right? I might assign that a level 6. We use what we call a SUD scale for this. Okay, let's say I have a fear of intimacy, and compared to this, it's only a 4. So I assign a level 4. And maybe I have a fear of success compared to my phobia of a 10, that's only a 3, right? So I take the theme is fears, right? I assign my 10. I list all the things. First thing I do is I list all the things I'm afraid of. And then I organize them from strongest to weakest. And I assign a number to them. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, type it in the chat. Can I enlarge it? Sure. Hold a second. Okay. So that's thematically. So again, when I'm working thematically, let's say one day I just want to deal with all my fears, right? And so I get out a piece of paper and I just do a brain dump of all the things I'm afraid of. And I go through each one individually. And I feel in my body where it's located, and I give it an intensity level of 0 to 10. 0 being completely 0, nothing there, neutral, gone, impossible to affect me. 10 being overwhelming, right? I assign a number value and I organize the list from 10 to 0. And then I take whatever technique that I'm going to use. Okay. If it's a technique you're learning here, you should come away with a level 1 or 2 technique for this. You start with your level 1 problems. Okay. So I go to my list. I look at, okay, let's say I'm working with, fear of success, right? Let me go back to sharing my screen. So I'm working with fear of success, right? So that, again, I start with the lowest. I work backwards. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's say I'm going to use the magic frame technique, the special negativity clearing that I have, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name my fear. I'm going to point to where I feel it in my body. Okay. I'm going to reach out and touch the image connected to it. I'm going to draw a big frame around the picture. White or blacken the picture out. Write the lessons on the screen. Shrink the image. Move it behind me. Nail it back there. Okay. That, in a nutshell, with a few nuances, is what we call the specialized negativity clearing technique that we're going to play with today. Those are the steps. We're going to go through them together. But the first one I'm going to go after is not the 10. I'm going to go after the 3, the fear of success. I'm going to work with that until fear of success is zeroed out. Then I'm going to move on to my level 4. Right? I'm going to work with that until it's zeroed out. I'm going to move on to my 6s. Until it's zeroed out. I'm just going to work my way up the list. Does that make sense? Type it in the chat. Okay. Now, if you want to do this in a free form way, let's say you've only got one fear, but you want to clear out a bunch of stuff. Okay. You want to clear a bunch of stuff, right? So same process now. You get out a piece of paper. You just do a brain dump, do a heart dump. Write everything that bothers you, no matter how random or disconnected or completely separated. It doesn't matter, right? All that matters is it bothers you in some way. You write them on a piece of paper, and you go through each one again. And now, as you think about it and you remember those, assign an emotional number value, an intensity value to each of those. Okay. And then just like we did thematically now, organize those issues from highest to lowest, decide what technique you're going to use, and start with the lowest number first. Okay. So you can do this, again, thematically, you can do this free form. Now, here's one training technique. And again, this is training now. All right. This is not something you're going to do once. This is something I want you to overlearn. Because once you've relegated this to what we call unconscious competence in your mind, and that only comes through doing lots and lots of repetitions, your unconscious mind will start to do this automatically. You won't even have to think about it anymore, right? But you have to do those reps. So 66 days is the new normal now. We used to say 21 days to establish a new pattern of behavior. It's now 60. The science is now showing it's 66. So if you give yourself 70, 75 days, you're going to have a little buffer in there in case you miss one. So let's just use 66 as based on the neuroscience. If we have hypnosis training, if we have oxytocin loading processes that we use, we're using electrocranial stimulation, we can probably shorten that curve. But I assume you don't have any of those things. Okay, I assume you don't have any of those things. If you do, you can shorten it. But I'm assuming you don't. So if we take worst case scenario, no Kit Kats, that's right. Okay, so are we clear on how bucket listing works? Now, here's why this is important to us. And I'm going to show you another one of my diagrams. It's going to make this a little bit, hopefully make this a little bit make sense for you. Going back to energy-based psychotherapy. I got to find my page. Hold on a second. Rules of the mind. I think this, no, that's not it either. Here we go. My pages are disappearing. Bear with me here. For some reason, my, here we go. Okay. All right. Hold on a second. I hate when I do that. Here we go. Okay. Draw, erase. Now, a lot of you have seen this picture before. A lot of you, this will be your first time. But this is where everything we've talked about at the beginning of the webinar and everything we're going to be doing from this point come together. Remember that our belief systems are all built out of visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and olfactory and gustatory distinctions, right? So if I'm driving through the world, I'm driving down the highway, don't have a care in the world, all of a sudden a car comes out of nowhere, T-bones my car. There's two aspects that happen. A is the actual external experience. And then what happens is the brain creates an internal representation and splits it into 5 channels: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. So NLP would call this VACOG. In our systems, we call it the primary encoding system. Now, one of the things you need to understand is that you are not the way you are because of the stuff that happened to you. You're the way you are because of the way you've recorded the things that have happened to you. So that moment of external experience happens once and then it's gone forever. Okay? But the recording that you made of it, that stays around, and that's what you continue to relate to. So if you have stuff that keeps coming up or you have recurring thoughts, it's not the event, but your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It doesn't make a distinction between an external event and an internal event. It treats it the same way. But you have complete control over what you do on the inside. But the first thing that has to happen is you have to go above it. You have to do what we call going meta to the process. How do we do that? One of the fastest ways to do it is to measure it. And that's why bucket listing is so important. Because in order for you to measure something, you must dissociate from it. The act of dissociating from it gives you power over it. Do you understand what I just told you? The act of analyzing and measuring something takes you from this to this being your consciousness, this being the issue. It dissociates and disidentifies you from the problem, and the act of separating yourself from the experience in this way gives you power over the recording your system made of it. So bucket listing has a bunch of different uses. Let me close this door really quick. Okay. A, it organizes your stuff so that you can deal with it systematically on a level playing field. The other benefit of it is that it causes you, when you're identified with something, there's no distinction between yourself and the event. As far as your neurology is concerned, it's like your arm. You're going to fight to keep it. But the moment you measure it, this happens. Once you're above it, you can change it. Okay? So this is why bucket listing is very, very important. And it gives you a process that your neurology didn't have before that allows you to organize your stuff differently. Okay? So let's look at this little diagram I've got here so we can understand how what we're doing in our mind is actually also happening out here in front of us. Okay? Again, a lot of this you don't need to know to do the technique, but it helps to understand that there's a system behind what we're doing. Okay? So there's a few basic principles that we need to cover. The bucket listing had to come first because the vast majority of you are going to do this by yourself. And if I just throw this shit out, it may or may not work as well if I don't teach you this first. But if I teach you the bucket listing first, it works 10 times better. Right? It works really well on its own. But again, I assume a lot of you are going to be working on, by yourself. So I want to make sure, I want to pad I want to stack the deck for you, for lack of a better word. Okay, so let's do a couple of things here together. So first thing that's going to happen is your neurology is going to take that information. It's going to do two things. It's going to lodge it somewhere in your body. So this is a picture. This was a study done in Sweden of where different types of emotions. Hold on a second. Are stored in your body. So the moment you have a primary experience, it passes through those 5 channels of information. That information is reconstructed and spread holographically throughout your entire body. This is a chart from a study done in Sweden where people pointed to certain types of emotions, and you can find this on the internet, or Seth can post it. Right? So this is where point to where you feel it comes in. Because if you can point to where you feel it, there's a body feeling. Everything human beings do is in response to a body feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Now, that projection is interoceptive and proprioceptive. In other words, when you have this container that you've created, it's going to get locked in your body somewhere. But because of this electromagnetic field in your proprioceptive nervous system, that information is also going to be stored out in front of you, kind of like a vibrational filing cabinet. Okay, so part of what we want to do is we want to connect all the different files together into a common location that we can work with, right? So this is how it's going to work. And this is the basics that you need to understand. Your neurology has ways that it's coded things. And this is how it works. I want you to, you can stand, I would prefer if you stand up to do this, but you don't have to. I want you to stand up. I want you to think of something in your life that on a pleasure scale of 0 to 10 is about a 7 or 8. I want you to just close your eyes, think of something that gives you pleasure. Notice where you feel it in your body, point to where you feel it. And if there was a picture floating in the space around you that represents that feeling, a picture you could reach out and touch, go ahead and reach out and touch the picture. Go with your first impression, okay? Go with your first impression. Now take both of your hands. Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Reach out, grab the picture. Now, just like you would expand the window on your iPhone or your touchscreen at home, make the picture bigger and notice what happens to the feeling in your body. Does it get stronger or does it get weaker? Doesn't matter which one it does. I just want to know which direction you're going. And then when you got that, make it smaller. Once you've got that, make it back to its original size. Slowly pull it closer to your body. Keep the size the same, because a lot of times what happens is people have a picture that's out here, and as they bring it closer to their body, they do this. Keep the picture exactly the same size, but just slowly pull it closer to your body. Okay? Does it get stronger? Does it get weaker? Type in the chat, what happened when you made your picture bigger? And again, there's going to be slight variations because people use their coding systems differently. Doesn't matter as long as you know which one you are. Stronger when bigger? Okay, very good. Stronger when bigger? Excellent. You don't bring it back, you try and, okay. Stronger, strong. Okay, good. Now, I'm gonna explain the generalities so you can understand where you fall on the spectrum. The vast majority of people, when you make the picture bigger, the feeling will get intense. A smaller percentage of the people will have an inverse effect. When they make the picture bigger, the feeling and the body feeling actually gets weaker. I call those people diffusers and concentrators. That make the picture bigger, it diffuses the feeling, right? Make the picture smaller, it concentrates it. That's a smaller percentage of the population. Most people, I would say 55, 60%, are expanders. In other words, they make the picture bigger, the volume goes up in the body, right? A small percentage of people will have very little change when they change the size of it. But when they move the proximity closer to the body, it'll get stronger. When they move the proximity further away, it'll get weaker, right? I haven't seen as much variation in proximity as I have in size, okay? But, so those are the big variations. Every now and then you're gonna have somebody who they feel it, but it's not really strong. And so those are people who have extra layers of dissociation or insulation between the external projection and the internal feeling. And there's a way there's a way to fix that. I'm not gonna do it on this webinar because it may cause people to abreact, and I'm not there, right? The last one was closer to me and the body was stronger than the last one. Yes. So was that for the vast majority of you, was what I described what you experienced, true or not true? Okay, it's true. Okay, excellent. Now let me explain to you the map I want you to follow, okay? Because what you just experienced was an aspect of the vibrational thought encoding system that your neurology uses to control your entire reality. There is so much depth to this. I could spend weeks. In fact, I spend entire trainings on this, but you don't need to know all that to start making changes. Okay. Like I said, you don't need to know how to build the car or tune up the car to drive the car. You just need to know where the ignition is, where the gas pedal is, where the brake is, where the reverse engine is, where the gear shift is. You just need to know how to drive it. So here's the basic map, and you can take a screenshot of this if you want. Right. So here's what it looks like. Let me clear this out here. So what you're seeing here is a map of what we call your proprioceptive grid. Okay. Your nervous system does two things simultaneously. It processes information internally and projects it externally. What we want to do to get the biggest amount of transformation in the system is we need to get all of the body's resources working together. We do that through a process we call vivification. In other words, we're going to use our body to bring these things to life. So the basic map of what you're going to be doing is anything that is in front of you. So think of something you want to change, right? On a scale of 0 to 10, think of something that has like a level of 1 or 2 or 3. Something that bothers you a little bit on a scale of 0 to 3, right? Point to where you feel it, first impression. Now, if there were a picture floating in the space around you that represents that feeling, a picture you could reach out and touch, go ahead, reach out and touch that. Right? Now trace the outline of it with both of your hands so you know how big that is. Make sure we've got the right one. Make the picture bigger. Notice what happens to the feeling. Make the picture smaller. Notice what happens to the feeling. Okay? Now, just for fun, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp. Notice what happens to the feeling. Now move it across the room. Notice what happens to the feeling. Right? Make a note of it. Now leave it there for a moment and type in the chat what you experienced. Now here's my question. Almost complete disconnect. Perfect. Here's my question. When I asked you to reach out and touch the thing that bothers you, how many of you reached out in front of you? Did any of you reach behind you? How about that? How about that? You got 100 plus people, with 100 plus people on Zoom, over 100 people on YouTube. Nobody reached behind them. Why? It's because of the way your nervous system codes and stores information. The default map for every human being is like your desktop. Any file that is open, active, and running, that's being accessed subconsciously by your system, is in front of you. That's why when people talk, they're always moving their hands to different locations. They're literally opening the filing cabinet and reading the file kinesthetically. Jason Myers says, Erin, can I still buy the deal and get the bonuses? Yes, you can. Just go to www.nlppower.com/mind. Let me put that in the chat really quick. Okay. Edward's been through a lot of my classes, so he's, spoiler alert for Edwin. Anyway, my point is when people talk, especially you therapists out there, when people talk about their stuff, their hands will always go to the filing cabinet where that problem is stored. They won't be consciously aware of it. But this is a level of vibrational information that you can activate and manipulate. Okay? So let's look at this map. I want to review our offer. I'm going to come back. We're going to start clearing shit. Okay? So let's do this. So here's what I want you to get from this. Every single one of you, anything that's open or anything that's in front of you, your neurology treats as open, active, and running. Okay? Anything that travels past the border of the spine, your neurology considers as closed, over, and complete. Now, let's test this. Let's go back to our thing that we want to change. Okay? Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Remember, we're using 0 to 3, no more than a level 3 right now. Reach out and touch it. Trace the outline of it with both of your hands, make it bigger, make it smaller. Make sure you got the right one. Now what I want you to do, in your mind and in your body, put a big, thick black frame around that picture. Shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp. Move it behind you. You know the sound a nail gun makes? Nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. When you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, test it. Try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. Type in the chat what you discovered. Does not come back. My fingers met. That's fine. Again, we're not doing special negativity clearing yet. How many of you noticed when it traveled past your spine, it got weaker until it disappeared? Some of you noticed it came back. That's fine. It felt closed. Right. And this is the big piece, right? I'm giving you the big pieces first. Anything that's in front of you is open. Anything that's behind you, your neurology classifies as overdone and complete. Now, sometimes your neurology will not let something be overdone and complete, that you can forget about it until you've proven that you've extracted the safety lessons that it's not going to happen again. So anything that's out here, your neurology classified as not imminent. It's not important. It's not happening. It's not anything that passes the border of the physical body. You start to associate and identify with more until it passes through you. Think of energy passing through your chakras. And as it moves further and further away, the charge dissipates because your neurology says it's past, we're past it now. Okay, so here's what was going to happen now. We're going to do the full technique. So you guys have a bucket list? Type in the chat if you've done your bucket list while I was talking. Some of it, okay. All right, so let's go to our level 1s and 2s, right? we're going to do this together, right? But I wanted you to have a basic map so you understand the process, okay? So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think of that thing you want to change. On a 0 to 10 scale, it should be about a 1, 2, or 3. I want you to point to where you feel it in your body. Here's the magic question. If there were a picture floating in the space around you that represents that feeling, a picture you could reach out and touch, first impression, where would you reach out to touch it? First impression. Now, notice my position. I'm using both of my hands, okay? Now, take that, make sure we've got the right image, trace the outline of it with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Grab it, physically grab it, make the picture bigger, notice what happens to the feeling. Make the picture smaller, notice what happens to the feeling. Pull it closer, notice what happens, push it away, and put it back to where it was. Put a thick black frame around that image. And then I want you to feel along the base of that frame. And along the base of that frame, you're going to notice some dials and knobs and switches like on an old style television. Now, you're probably too young to remember when televisions actually had those things, but I want you to feel along the base of that that black frame. You're going to notice some dials and knobs and switches. One controls the volume and one controls the color and the brightness and the contrast. I want you to find the knob that controls the brightness or the contrast. Turn that knob all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Turn the knob all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. And decide which one you like better. If you like it whited out, turn it all the way to the white. If you like it blacked out, turn it all the way to the left. Once you've got that, take the index finger of your dominant hand, and in glowing golden letters, across that whited out or blacked out screen, I want you to write all the lessons that that experience had to teach you, positive or negative, so you can keep all the lessons and let everything else go. Keep all the lessons, let everything else go. Now, some people know exactly what that experience had to teach them, and they write that shit down like it's nobody's business. Some people have no conscious idea what that had to teach them, but there's a part of you that always knows. That's why you're holding on to it. So just think about automatic writing. Put that finger on the screen and let it start going. And whatever comes out, comes out. You may constantly know what it is. You may not. Just let that finger start writing. Some people draw pictures. Some people draw squiggles. Some people every now and then write, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you across the screen. Every now and then you get people writing with both hands simultaneously, writing Chinese and Hebrew at the same time. However you do it, just let that information flow. Some people notice feelings and emotions coming up. Flow them out onto the screen too. Whatever comes up, whatever comes out, put it on the screen. As it comes up, it comes out. As you feel it, you reveal it. As you reveal it, you heal it. Solve, dissolved, and resolved from the body. Solve, dissolved, and resolved from the mind for all the right reasons. I've had people write for 20 minutes. Don't be bashful. If it comes up, put it on that screen. If feelings come up, just keep writing until it's completely done. So you can keep all those lessons and let everything else go. When you got that, reach up with both of your hands. Physically shrink that down to the size of a postage stamp or even smaller. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as your unconscious mind moves that shrunken image all the way up over the top of your head, back beyond the horizon. And you know the sound a hammer makes when it's banging on a nail, or a nail bin makes when it's driving in those nails? Feel it nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. And when you know it's nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back, test it. Try to bring those old feelings back. Try to turn the new feelings off. Notice what happens instead. When you're done and you're satisfied, type your experience in the chat. It's gone. Closed. Deal. Awesome. Perfect. The image floated back a lot easier this time. Yes. This is the big deal. You see, your unconscious mind's job is to keep you safe. The only way it knows to keep you safe is if you can prove to it that you've learned the lesson, that it won't be lost. Okay? Right? So here's the deal. You can go back and watch this video over and over again and be guided through this process. Cynthia says it's gone. I can feel it beside me or above me before I put it behind me. Perfect. Now, all through history, human beings have been given clues to this process in our language, right? Perfect. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Yeah. Right. Now, here's how you make this work and how you make it a life skill. You spend a few weeks collecting all your ones. David, Dave, can I use this technique for my guided meditations? 100%. 100%. Just integrate it, right? This is how your nervous system works, right? And again, we could spend hours going through the nuances of, and we do in our 5 and 4 day and 7 day classes, but you don't need all that to start making change. You need to know that there's actually a system that works that you can do. Daniel's asking why only the ones, because I want you to use a level, right now you have a level 1 technique, right? I'm a level 55 magic user, right? So if I guide you through a process, you can probably deal with an 8, 9, or 10 because I'm guiding you. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I've been doing this a long time, and I do it a lot through virtual mediums. So I know what I can do, but I'm not going to be there all the time. I need to prepare you to be able to do this for yourself. And I have to assume that you have no skills to start with. If you do, great. But if you don't, I'm not doing my job if I assume things. So I have to teach you, I have to assume you have a level 1 technique, which means if you try to go against a level 10, 20, or 30 problem, you're going to be overwhelmed. So we take a level 1 technique, we pick a level 1 problem, we destroy the level 1 problem using the level 1 technique. After about 3 to 5 repetitions at level 1, your skill level jumps. You start to develop a history of success at the autonomic level. So your nervous system becomes much more willing to engage in higher level processes or dealing with things that have a higher emotional charge. You see, the problem that we have is dealing with emotional arousal. The more provocative an experience is, the greater the degree of emotional charge. The more emotional charge in your nervous system, the less you can cognitively monitor what you're doing. This is why state control always has to come first. If you get in a situation where you're instantly overwhelmed, you can't access any of this material. It's going to go right out the fucking window, right? So my job as a teacher is to prepare you in the most solid way possible to deal with it on your own. Do we need to be able to visualize the image perfectly? No, you don't. Most people see a muddy square. You don't have to, you just have to know where it is. And if you can't see it, just pretend it'll work just as well. Because the part of you that manages this aspect of you is the part of you that plays pretend when you were a kid. So again, it's in this, the secret is in the Bible. It says, be as little children. Little children play pretend at the drop of a hat. So if you just pretend, it'll still be right. After that, it's just wash, rinse, repeat. Repetition is the mother of transformation. Okay. Now, depending on how close to the actual source material and how the nervous system natively operates is, the less repetition, the greater amplitude you're going to get. The further that system is from how the nervous system naturally does things, the harder you have to work. Our system is the easiest because it's most closely aligned with how your neurology holographically processes information. Okay, Cynthia says, the other thing I'm learning is how to play a little bit at a time. Thank you. You're very welcome. Okay, so for those of you who may have been joining us late, who may have missed some of our early talks, let me just go ahead and review that. We do have an offer on the table. If you like this technique, if you like the things we've shared with you, there's much more waiting for you in our Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control training process. It's a 14 video set that covers the 7-stage identity by design system, of which this technique is one piece, plus the manual. It's a $2,497 value, plus you'll get the access to the NLP Power online community, which we'll talk about in a minute. For those of you who grabbed this before I log off today, you're also going to get the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy and Home Study course program. It's a $1,497 value. We're also going to include the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Mastery Home Study course. It's a $1,497 value. We're going to give that to you free. It's going to allow you to, leverage the Identity by Design processes and pull more of the things you want into your life easily, effortlessly, and automatically. We're going to include the Stealth CPI Level 1 Universal Persuasion Protocol, valued at $1,950. We're also going to include the Renegade Reframing, Objection Obliteration, and the Art of Speed Conversational Belief Change. This is a system you can use on yourself, and you can use it with others to overcome limiting beliefs, overcome objections, win arguments, deal with people who are trying to, belittle you or manipulate you in different ways that aren't useful. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. And for those of you who are the next 15 people to register before I log off this webinar, we're also going to include these 3 bonuses. Is the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. It's a $997 value. You can watch 2 simple videos and be hypnotizing people instantly, effortlessly, and automatically. It's for people who really want a fast start. It includes manuals, transcripts, all kinds of cool other bonus videos. We're also going to give you the 3 months of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group and the 10 years of archive video. It's a $594 value. And you're also going to get, again, for the next 15 people who have registered for this program, and this ends when I log off the event today, a free VIP ticket that gives you free access to any one of our single live events in our 2021-2022 calendar and beyond. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free so you can really hang out with your tribe, do the things that you need to do to get these materials into you. It's one of the most powerful transformational experiences that you can have, and it will amplify everything in the video courses that we're offering you in this package. Total value, if you were to go to the website today and try to purchase it, which you can't, will be $12,932. You can get it all for one low installment of just $997, or if you need a little help, we can break that up into 3 easy payments of just $397. And all you need to do to get yours is click that link at www.nlppower.com/mind. That's www.nlppower.com/mind. And Stephanie can help you get handled if you need extra, if you have extra concerns, or maybe you need a little bit of extra customization. Stephanie is usually pretty flexible. Stephanie is the final arbiter of any deals or any payment plans and things of that nature. So if if she says it, I'm going to back her up 100%. We're going to do our best to make sure that you have the tools that you need to get the transformations. But again, I don't want you to take it at face value. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to have an experience. Okay. And once you're convinced that it's good, Phil, welcome, Phil. Phil's in. Phil made his first payment. Congratulations. Everybody give Phil a big round of applause. Excellent. All right. So that's what we've got. Again, we got a few minutes left. Let me go ahead and stop sharing this. So here's, again, your assignment now is to build out your bucket list, either thematically or free form. Take the process. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chats. I apologize. Take the process and apply it to your bucket list, this magic frame concept. Now, here's the thing I want you to understand. This magic frame process isn't just for emotions. It will work on physical pains. It will work on pretty much anything you can point to. I've used this on injured knees. I've used this on strained backs. I've used this on, I don't know if I've used this on herpes outbreaks or not. But the thing I need you to understand is that the level at which the level of information that you're processing as far as the neurology is concerned, it doesn't matter whether it's an emotional thing or a physical thing. Okay. The vast majority of our physical issues are actually emotionally driven. And so the moment you start to depotentiate and zero out those emotions, the physical stuff starts to go away. Okay. In fact, you'll start to be able to use this for face reading and make people look younger and stuff like that. There's all kinds of really cool things that go with this. Okay. Questions about what we've covered so far? Questions about what we've covered so far? What would now be a good time to ask those questions? How do you know when you're ready for a level 3 to 5? It's very simple. When the magic number is 3. When you've handled, if you're at level 1, for example, and you've nuked 3 level 1s successfully, you can start playing with level 2s. I would go as a trainer teaching people to do this. I would do at least 5 at each level, right? But if you've got 27 level 3s, then do all 27 level 3s, because each time you nuke one of those problems, your unconscious mind logs that as a success, and it becomes more triumphant, and therefore becomes more relentless, and it's willing to take on those other things. Now, the beauty of the bucket list is if you apply it, right? You've already organized your stuff from 0 to 10, right? Now, a lot of times, if you're guided by someone like me or Seth or some of the people who certified, you can handle those level 10s because you got an expert guiding you. You have complete faith and confidence in the guidance you're receiving. But when you're doing this on your own, you don't have that. So you need to build that for yourself. And a lot of times, the unconscious mind can't make a leap from a level 1 problem to a level 10. But if you do this systematic approach that I'm sharing with you, what happens is you become super confident at level 1. which makes you much more confident in approaching the level 2, but the perceived level of difficulty through the entire spectrum is only 1. So by the time you hit level 8, 9, and 10, there's no difference between an 8 and a 9 than there is between a 1 and a 2 as far as your neurology is concerned. It's all easy. Does that make sense? So you're not tricking your nervous system, but you're training it. You're systematically giving yourself the ability to step up your game. What if everything feels like a 10? Pick something, right? Play with your pictures and again, here's a question. If everything feels like a 10, here's where you start. Point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, trace the outline with it, shrink it down, move it away. Deal with it there. Remember, think of the spatial relationship, this touch it, point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, like the volume control knob on the speaker of your system. You make the picture bigger, you turn the volume up. Make the picture smaller, move it away, you turn the volume down. If something's overwhelming you, all you gotta do is point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, and push it away. And you can deal with it. You see, the problem is that when the volume knob is turned all the way up to 10, it overwhelms us. So we can't access our cognitive resources. If you get somebody who has intense panic attacks, chronic anxiety, a lot of people on the Asperger's spectrum, if you ask them to point to where they're, especially the ones who are really anxiety ridden all the time, if you have them point to where they feel it, reach out and touch the picture and trace the outline of it, 9 times out of 10 that I have seen, that picture is going to be right here and it's going to be this freaking big. Don't believe me, go test it. But again, it doesn't matter if your default is this way or not. If you point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it, trace the outline of it, push it away, it's going to decrease the emotional arousal in your system that lets you deal with it. Okay? And if you did nothing but practice that, practice taking it from very big to very small to moving it out, you would develop more neuroplasticity. You would develop an enhanced control over your entire internal neurology. Okay? These are drills. Okay? These are drills. Okay? So hold on a second. I'm on the spectrum, and the baddie we just nuked was the smallest image I've ever seen, and it was like a 2-inch by 3-inch. So you're a concentrator. Okay. What happened when you made the picture bigger? I don't want to get too far off the field here, but so that was better. Feeder? I don't know what that means. Okay. Bigger made it worse too. Okay. Yeah. Again, people have different defaults. So again, the secret for you, AJ, is shrink it down, move it away. Work with it out here. Do everything you need to do, shrink it down even more, throw it up, move it behind you. That's why proximity and size are the things we play with the most. Okay? If you just practice pointing where you feel it, reaching out and touching it, and just play with it. We have this thing we call the frame game. You guys want to play a little bit? We'll do 1 or 2 more things before we sign off tonight. You guys want to play? Yes or yes? Hold on a second. Kristen is asking me to list again. Hold on a second. There's a lot of all right, we have too many people playing co-host right now. All right, so real quick, just because Kristen asked, I'm going to do this really quick, and then we're going to do a couple of things. Okay. So once again, just to review what's in the package, 14 video set, Secret Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control Training Package. This is the 14 video set with the 7-stage Identity by Design system plus the manual. It's a $2,497 value. It's going to come with the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. We're also going to include the Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, $1,497 value. The Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind Magic and Manifestation Home Study Course, $1,497 value. We're going to include the bonus Stealth CPI Level 1 Universal Persuasion Protocol, valued at $1,950. Thank you, Kent. Kent's joined the webinar club. Excellent. Renegade Reframing, Objection, obliteration, and speed conversational belief change, $1,950 value. You're going to get the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course valued at $997. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program 3-month trial. By the way, for those of you jumping who are purchased this or got your program, our next mastermind meeting is this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific. It's this Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.nlppower.com/mind. nlppower.com/mind. You're also going to get that free VIP ticket to any single live event in our 2021, 2022 calendar and beyond. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Stephanie at 858-282-4663. That's 858-282-4663. This total package is worth over $12,932, but you can get it all. You can get it all for one low investment of just $997, or if you need to, you can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $397 each. And if you have any of the programs listed in this bonus package, if you call us and let us know, we will customize the package for you. As long as the price points are equal or lesser value, you can get exactly what you need without any duplication. And all you got to do to get yours is click the link, go to www.nlppower.com/mind. That's www.nlppower.com/mind. And Stephanie will help you move that forward in the shortest amount of time possible. Again, if you call and it goes to voicemail, leave a message and we will get back to you. Okay, so let me go back now. There's a couple more things I want to do. We're going to play the frame game really quick. Or actually, let's do this one. So this next drill is a general negativity clearing exercise. And we're also going to include a future programming piece to it. Okay, so to do this, we're going to do a little preliminary work first. I want you to think about something. I'm going to ask you something. I want you to go with your first impressions and follow my instructions. I want you to think about this. If there were a space around you right now where things always came true, in other words, anything that is in this spot is destined to happen to you no matter what. If there were a location around you where your neurology stored that kind of information, a place you could reach out and touch, or point to where you feel it. Point to where you feel it, that feeling of certainty of it's going to happen no matter what. Reach out and touch that spot. And make a special note of where that spot is. Trace the outline of it with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Reach out and grab it. Make it bigger. Make it smaller. Notice what happens to the feelings in your body. Got it? If you got it, type yes in the chat. Perfect. Now, here's what I want you to do. You see, your unconscious mind makes memories as easily of the future as it does of the past. Most people don't realize that because we live our life we're always oriented forward. So here's what I want you to think about. There's something each and every one of you want, something you want to manifest. True, not true. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine what having that thing might be like. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be clear, but what might you see in that future? What might you hear? What might you smell? What might you taste? Because when you do that, when you're in that place, when you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there is a wonderful, amazing feeling that you get. A feeling that lets you know it's really here, it's really happening, it's really true. And there's a place in your body where those wonderful feelings start, where they grow, where they spread from. Point to where you feel it. Okay? You don't have to see it, you just have to know it's there. Okay? Now, as you make that picture of that thing, point to where you feel it, reach out, touch that picture. Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Make it bigger. Notice what happens to the feelings in your body. Do they get stronger? Do they get weaker? I want you to play with that image. Make it clearer, make it louder, make it smell better, make it taste better. Build in all the things that make it awesome for you. And when you know you've got that, I want you to reach up, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp, and notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as you physically move it from where you created it and move it into that place where everything that is in this space is going to manifest with absolute certainty. And once it's in that space, I want you to expand it as big as you need and want it to be until it locks into place. As you do that, I'd like you to notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as it moves from an imagination to an eventuality to an inevitability. And notice that there's a place in your body where those wonderful, inevitable feelings start, where they grow, where they spread from. Point to where you feel it. And I'd like you to notice that there's a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those amazing feelings. I'm curious what color or colors that might be for you, first impression. Whatever they are, I'd like you to imagine a beautiful ball of that colored energy floating above your head. And I'd like you to notice how the feelings in your body shift and changes with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. That beautiful ball of inevitability begins to grow. It begins to expand, begins to fill the entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, and all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of prediction, of inevitability, of certainty, a cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating you, protecting you from all randomness, all variation, real or imagined, while at the same time flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with everything it most wants, everything it most needs in an infinite, ever-expanding, and unlimited supply. And when you know you've got that, breathe those amazing energies through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely, no force in the universe can turn it off, take it away, not even you. And when you know you've got that, you're certain of it, it's locked in, it's true, test it. Try to turn it off. Try to make it go away. Try to doubt it in any conceivable fashion and notice what happens instead. And when you're done, stop testing. Imagine you could float up out of your body, move forward in time, 7 days from today, 7 days from June 24th, 2021. 7 days of this ongoing programming, transformation, and revelation, compounding and multiplying and magnifying every moment of every day inside your mind, body, and soul. Float down into that future version of yourself, that version of yourself that's been living 7 full and complete days with this new program taking over, orienting your mind, body, and soul to the future you want, the way you want it, making all the necessary changes and transformations. Float down. See the world through those eyes. Hear the world through those ears. Smell and taste and world through that mind, body, and soul, alive with those transformations. Live a few days in that life. Notice what that's like. And as you do that, if you could turn around, look back 7 days from that future to the now, as you look back on that younger version of yourself, what do you know now that that younger version didn't know? What do you understand now that that younger version of yourself didn't understand? And if you could reach back through the wormhole of time and space, teach that younger version of yourself everything they'd ever need to know, to feel, to believe, to understand, to be as amazing in that future you, or in their time as you are in that future version of yourself, what would you teach them? What would you share with them? What would you give them? And when you're ready, I want you to reach back through the wormhole of time and space, back to all the younger versions of yourself that most need and want and could benefit from this information. Embrace them, invite them to move forward through the wormhole of time and space into your waiting arms. Hold them to your heart. Whisper in their ear everything they're ever going to need to know, to see, to feel, to hear, to experience, to understand, to be as amazing in their life as you are 7 days from June 25th, 2021. And when you know you've got that, take that amazing set of colors that you've accumulated through the course of this training, breathe all of those amazing colors through all of you at the same time. Notice how all of you begin to merge, to blend, to combine, to integrate synergistically, harmoniously, exponentially more powerful together than any of you on your own, until you're one full and complete United States of you. Take all the time you need to let that integration take place. When you know it's done, you know it's complete. Test it. Try to go back to the old way of being. Try to be the old you and notice what happens instead. Now in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. As I reach the number 5, you can emerge from this process only at the rate and speed that all these changes, all these transformations, all these understandings have locked at the deepest, most powerful, most irresistible level of your mind, body, and soul. Only at the rate and speed that every level of your mind and body is aligned in such a way that you get the things you want, that you act on the information you've acquired, that you take the steps necessary to get the life you want the way that you want it, at whatever it costs. Number 1, feel yourself returning to this place we call reality, bringing with you the keys to a much better one. Number 2, all of my suggestions from me to you, from you to your very own other than conscious mind, are now 10 times more powerful, 100 times more permanent, 1,000 times more thrilling, fulfilling, and satisfying than ever before. Embraced, held, locked in to that part of your mind, body, and soul that most wants, desires, can implement, facilitate, express these changes in all the ways that give you the life that you want, the way that you want it, by your standards and your definitions. Number 3, always at least 3 ways to overcome any situation, obstacle, or circumstance that you may face. There's always at least 3 solutions to any problem you need to solve, and your all-powerful other than conscious mind will now easily, effortlessly, and automatically generate those solutions and implement them in the quickest, easiest, and most effective way for the good of yourself and all concerned. Number 4, because it's all for you. You made the effort. You made the journey. You showed up. You followed the drills. You tested the skills. You've earned the rewards and the right to keep them. It's your reality. It's your truth. It's your life. And you get to live it to the fullest, starting now. On the next count, you can emerge from this process like a phoenix rising from the ashes, like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. One phase of your transformation complete. The next phase, the best phase, just beginning. Ready to spread your wings, take to the air, to soar amongst the clouds, to experience life, the universe, and everything in it from a much higher place, a more enlightened perspective. Head clear, mind clear, heart clear, soul clear, thinking, feeling, acting with self-assurance, feeling good all over, glad to be alive, ready to thrive. Number 5, take your time, come on back, Notice how good you feel. When you're completely back, just type back in the chat and we'll continue. Some people are saying, holy crap. Timothy Fox says, holy crap. Excellent. All right. So, like I said, if this is the scope of everything there is to play with, tapping into the true magic and power of your unconscious mind, we've had time for this. I encourage you, I implore you, if you want to go deeper, if you want to explore the magic that is you, if you want to see the world and the matrix that goes with it, click that link below. Join me on the other side and let's explore the magic of the universe together. Let's explore the magic of you that is together. Use that VIP ticket, show up at these events. Let me show you what's possible for you. Okay. Those of you who are kind of on the fence, just go to www.nlppower.com. Once again, I'll just review this really quick. Secrets of Personality Transformation home study course comes with a ridiculous amount of good stuff. You get the 14 video 7-stage Identity by Design system. It's $2,497 value. The Identity by Design hypnotherapy home study course. If you like that induction, you'll learn how to do that and a whole lot more. It's just part of how we train you to do these things, right? You'll get the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation and Mind Control, Manifestation Home Study Course, $1,497 value. Stealth CPI Level 1, $1,950 value. Renegade Reframing and the Art of Conversational Belief Change, $1,950 value. The Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. The NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program and Video Archive, $594 value. And the free VIP ticket to any single live event in our 2021 and 2022 calendars and beyond. $1,950 value, absolutely free. Total value, $12,932. It's all yours today for one low installment of just $997. Or you can break it up into 3 easy payments at $397. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.nlppower.com/mind. That's www.nlppower.com/mind. If you have questions, call us. We're here for you. Our job is to show you the life you want and teach you how to get it. Okay? So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. In the words of the immortal Cal Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. I love you all. Good night. God bless. Do the drills, get the Skittles, click those links.